Target acquired.
Eagle 1, first strike. You have permission to engage the target.
Warning: the following video contains explicit language which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
That's right, folks. Mature audiences only. No one else need apply. Welcome to everyone. Everyone that's made it out tonight. How about that? It actually seems like I'm a little laggy tonight. I don't know. Maybe not. We'll see. We'll find out. So it looks like we've got K2 Keep on Trucking in the house tonight. Zex Marquise. That's cool. Mach 5 vibes. Yeah, absolutely. Damien, welcome, sir. Welcome. Resident parkour guy. We've got Anson Knowles talking about a nice rack, and we got TR Finley showing up. Ticky Tack confirms nice rack. All right. Well, I have not actually, although I should actually pull up my buddy Fabian Libertai. We'll see what old Fabian is doing. And Mr. Scott, beam me up. So I'll have to go to his channel. Let's see where he is showing this tonight. Need to open up the aperture. Okay. Give me 1 sec. I can do that. While I go check out the rack on Fabian Liberty's girl there. I did change my setup, so some of the stuff is a little off. Stand by, guys. Got to be honest, this isn't even really fair with the e-thoughts there. All right, let's see if that's any better. Now I'm a little out of focus, but that's okay. Maybe not. Not too bad. I can fix that. Give me 1 second. I will. I'll fix that. It's a delicate balance here. It's a manual focus, and I don't have a cameraman, so stand by. Let's go, guys. The Mandalorian flag. That is a Mandalorian flag. That is indeed. There we go, guys. I'm not going to be able to get it better than that by myself anyway. If I had a cameraman here, that would be different, but I do not. Yes, I changed my setup up. The VK doesn't. Oh, I can change that shit. Stand by. VK go. VK has a license on red, huh? Red and black. I think we need. Yeah, I don't really like that. How about How about that? That's too red. That's too purple. That's gay. I don't like that. Blue by you? How about dark blue by me? Red does look the best, but maybe we can dial that out a little bit. Maybe make it a little bit more like that. Yeah, we're going to leave it in this red zone here. That's too red. I don't like that. I think that's about right. Yeah. We'll fix it later. There you go. All right, guys, enough with the camera. Every time I go through this when I change my setup every time. It is what it is. So apparently we're having a discussion about this young lady's rack. I looked at her content, low tier, cringe, thirst trap, suits her chest perfectly. That's funny. Let's go, Fredo Fonzarelli. This is, in fact, the way. All right, let's get the chat back up here. There. Oh, that's the wrong button. There we go. Look at that. Welcome, guys. Welcome. John, hey, it's okay, John Devin. I'm just being funny, man. I'm just being funny. It's all good, bro. It's all good. Don't worry about it. Anyway, yeah, it is Mandalorian flag. I change out all my stuff all the time. You guys know that. I have been with the last setup for quite a while. The problem is that I kind of encroached in my area a little too much. It was getting hard for me to deal with in the daily. So I just decided to just, let it roll, man. Let it roll. So it is what it is. Anyway, guys, welcome to the show. Tonight, I was going to talk about some interesting things that are going on. Tennessee is about to pass a you guys are going to love this. You're going to love it. It's called a hang on, I got to get back here. It's called a covenant marriage. It means exactly what it says. It is a covenant marriage. And let me show you. Let's if I can share this screen here. I now have a lot of screens, guys. I have all three of my screens up. I technically have four, but I'm only using three. So that's good. Let's check it out here. There we go. So look at this, guys. Is that like a Halo thing? The covenant. That's funny. That's funny. I like where your head's at. So covenant marriage has been proposed in Tennessee by a guy from Nashville, actually, which is really weird. But he's actually proposed a lot of based laws, and basically, ignore the ad. I can't do anything about that. It basically puts a marriage as as an institution again. In order to change, the important part here is in order to change the judgment of divorce in a covenant marriage, proof of any of the following must be shown upon attending counseling. The other spouse has committed adultery. The other spouse has committed a felony and is sentenced to death or continuous confinement. The other spouse has abandoned the matrimonial domicile for a period of 1 year and repeatedly refuses to return. The other spouse has physically or sexually abused the spouse seeking the divorce or a child of one of the spouses. The spouse has been living separately and apart continuously without reconciliation for a period of 2 years. The spouses have been living separately and apart continuously without reconciliation for a period of 1 year from the date of legal separation, or if there's a minor child or children of the marriage, the spouses have been living separately and apart continuously without reconciliation for a period of 1 year and 6 months from the date of the legal separation was signed, provided, however, if abuse of a child of the marriage or a child of one of the spouses is the basis for which the legal separation was obtained, then a judgment of divorce may be obtained if the spouses have been living separately and apart continuously without reconciliation for a period of 1 year from the date of the legal separation was signed. Now, basically, what this means is that you can't just go get a divorce in a week anymore. I think that's fair. I think that's something that we want. And much like flood insurance, you don't want to have to use it, but it is there if you need it. So yeah. So yeah, it's an interesting concept. I'm very interested to see how this goes over. It is obviously happening in basically my backyard, and in my state. So yeah. Anson Knowles, if two dudes could get married, that would not be marriage. I'm sorry. So, poor Anson. His hopes are dashed, folks. His hopes are dashed. So, how are the e? So, since I know Anson Knowles knows, how are the e-girls doing tonight in the battle? You guys have any idea? Is this 2v2 or how are they doing this? Tennessee has been based a long time, Smoking Patriot, and it is only getting better. They're just moderate. That's fine. All right, you got Ticky Tack and or Anson Knowles. If you guys want to come up on stream, that'd be great. Lactoid versus Scott. Lactoid's done. The only thing he's got going for him is the girls might, the girls will hear lawyer and they might get wet enough to not care too much about Scott beating the crap out of Lactoid. So yeah, if we can get some guys up here, let's chat. Tonight's subject is Hero Zero. Why don't kids want to excel now? Why is it you either, and it's not even like a spectrum, like all the kids like to say these days. It just seems like a lot of kids just really do not want to excel at all in anything. Don't understand it. Needs to be discussed. Let's go, guys. Let's go. I was hoping Glenn would wander in, but he's probably editing or something weird. Let's harass him though, just in case. Why is it, ladies and gentlemen? Why is it that so many people just do not seem to want to excel? You have 20 minutes? That's fine. Let's see. K2 Keep on Trucking says they think the system, how it right now is gay, working for the man and not getting anything anymore. To sum it up, to some degree, I actually agree with this. I think that a large number of our youth today feel like, and I hate using that feel term, but that's what it is. I think they feel like that they just don't care. Mikey Balls, that is perfectly okay, sir. I am always live on Wednesday night at 7, unless I make an announcement otherwise, 8 o'clock, unless I make an announcement otherwise. Good to see you, sir. It's going to be great. Actually, Mikey Balls, why don't you jump up here and come hang out with me, and we'll talk while we're. And actually, this is going to be a great subject for you, and I just know you're going to have a great time with it. I'm throwing the link in the mod chat right now. I've been obviously I changed my entire studio setup, and so I've been fucking with that all day, and I've been remiss on everything else. Let's see. Damien, they have no idea who they are. Can't excel at anything if you don't know what you're good at or even what you like to do. They're waiting to be told what or how to do everything. That's true. Combine that with the lazy entitlement, you have recipe for disaster. Yeah, absolutely. 100% agree, sir. 100%. And I think it's an interesting, it is several factors, Smoking Patriot. You're welcome to come up as well tonight. We'll just make it a party. I've been wondering this for a while because a lot of my kids' friends have what's up, Mikey Balls? How are you, sir?
What's up, man?
How are you? You know how it is, man. We got the Mandalorian going on back there. We got
I noticed
crisp image again.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, I gotta get your camera,
Patriot. That's okay. You don't have to. What do you think? Why is it, Mikey? You're a young man. When you look around at men slightly younger than you, say in their mid-20s, why is it they don't want to excel anymore? We're the heroes. Why? How is it that so many young men are lost? Why is that?
I would say that the majority of them definitely are. I was, I'm gonna try not to use myself in these. Oh wait, go ahead. You got a TTS.
I do. No, Anson Knowles just became a member.
Oh, got it.
Welcome to Recruit, Anson Knowles. Thank you, sir. Smoking Patriot, the link is, what you do is you go to the waiting room over on Discord, and then Mikey will give you the link, or a mod will wander along and give you the link. I did just create the waiting room today for that very purpose.
Nice.
Because we were kind of clogging general chat up and nobody was talking anymore. So I decided, you know what we need here is a waiting room. So just head over to the Discord, go to the waiting room, and one of the mods will throw you the link. The link is in the mod chat for the mods that are in the house tonight. So it's an interesting thing because I look around at my, and this is like even young kids are, man, they just don't want to they do not want to excel. Like even when I see them playing sports, I was watching I was watching some kids play soccer the other day. About half of them were actually trying to score, like trying every whatever, no, not downs or whatever, but the Mr. Boulay, we can restart the show. Well, we would, but you didn't miss anything because all I was doing was fucking with the equipment, focusing the camera, adjusting the aperture, just dialing it in since I changed everything around today. I mean, I tore everything apart, like literally everything.
You gotta always reset yourself, don't you? You're not like content.
It's not so much that, it's that first of all, I think complacency is kind of death.
It is.
Right. So if you can, so look, I like routine and I like order. I'm a big believer in routine and order, like a huge believer in routine and order. Like I was in military school, that was my every day was routine and order. But at the same time, you get complacent. You just do the same thing every day. All of a sudden, little things start piling up. You have all of this nonsense around you. I had a frame with my lights and everything on it, but I was only using one fucking light. And I'm like, why do I have all this shit in front of me? Right. What is this? So I tore all that down today. And it's like I've gone to the manual focus camera, or the manual focus lens on my camera. So that allows me to be in that allows me to change to use the space a little differently.
Mm-hmm.
I've got 4 monitor, or I actually have 5 monitors in here.
Damn.
I was only using 2 of them because it just didn't make any, I was like, whatever.
Right.
And so now I've got my monitor here, that my small one that's, kind of my PC monitor. And then I've got a monitor there. This has the YouTube feed, and I just don't fuck with it at all. I just,
Right.
that's just so I can read the chat, or if I can, if something kind of fucks up over here, I'll see it eventually over here. And then I have my Streamlabs directly in front of me, or my, this is this Talk Studio right in front of me, so I can add people or whatever. And if I need to move something between the 3, that's fine. I have another monitor there, which I'm not using. And I have the wall monitor still mounted over on that wall that had the flag on it and the thing. So I haven't moved that yet, because I was like, I don't know if I want to do a monitor behind me. I never actually used it for anything.
Sure.
So it is cool. But
Oh yeah.
was it,
Practical.
I don't know. Yeah. Was it really what I needed? Another
No,
part of it is I want to use my flight simulator.
Oh, that's
more.
cool.
And so to do that, so I have the 2 of these screens, they go basically on either side of me. And so I can like look out the windows. And then I have one in front of me. And so the way my setup was, there was no way to do that at all. Like, it wasn't going to fucking happen.
Right.
I don't know, man.
Hey, I've changed my setup a million times. I mean, with the exception of since I've moved here, I've pretty much left it the same. But I used to go through all different types of, I even built an entire house next to my house to stream. I literally built a building so I could just be streaming by myself and be in this crazy room, which I was. There was 4 75-inch.
You look like you live in like somebody's basement.
Totally. No, this is a cool ass pad, man. This is a great ass place. But yeah, so I used to have this studio setup where I had 4 75-inch QLEDs on each wall, doing the whole TV big,
yeah.
And then I had a dance floor on the actual ground itself.
Dance floor.
And so when I would touch it, it's interactive. So it would change scenes, or it would do whatever when I, it was pretty interesting, man. I had 5 different camera angles.
That is pretty interesting for a one-legged man.
Yeah, and I had 5 different camera angles, and I changed all the scenes with the cameras on my hip.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy.
That's pretty interesting, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. Yeah, I just I've winnowed it down, if you can kind of imagine that. I've just been shrinking the setup down.
Mm-hmm.
To where it's kind of just what I need, but maybe a little bit more than I need.
Yep. That's exactly what I did.
And so that's what I did today. I also, I like being able to change the background behind me a little bit, once in a while. That's pretty cool. I don't know. It was just one of those things where I was like, well, if I'm going to do it, I need to take advantage of the day to get it done. So I did.
Yeah, it's work. It sucks.
Yeah. It sucks to unplug everything and try and remember where everything goes.
Oh, yeah.
And
getting it to restart correctly, where now it's the inputs
are
different.
That this is working as well as it is fucking amazing.
Mind blowing, right?
Like, the only thing I really had to do was fuck with the camera. Because when I adjusted it, it was daylight. I had the door open. I had sunlight coming through. I had the window I had the blackout panels out of the windows, so it was really bright in here. And I've got this whole. So the other reason I did it is because it was getting really hard to control the light, because I have a white roof, white wall, white wall.
Mm-hmm.
And so what that means for me is that, what's up, Ticky Tack?
Hey, how's it going?
What that means for me is that it's been really hard to control light and control shadow, and so I knew what I needed to do was to go back to a cloth background behind me, that
Smart.
absorbs the light and helps me control the light.
Yep.
And then I'm still using the reflective qualities of the white wall and roof, but I'm still learning about light, reflection, all of that. So it's but the biggest thing that I realized that I had, and everybody kept complaining about echo, and I'd never had echo problems before when I was here. And I think part of that is because the wall behind me, that wall is full of insulation. It's dead. It's a dead wall. That wall full of insulation. That's a dead wall. That wall
Hollow.
full of insulation. Dead full of
Oh, wow.
dead wall. The wall behind me, not a dead wall. There's no insulation in it. When it just separates this office from the airplane shed behind me. And so I think what was happening is when I was facing that wall, that's where I was getting that echo. And I'm like, I've never had echo before. Like this just not been a thing. And so, and people are like, well, it's just a little bit, we barely hear it. And, I'm whatever. So having the cloth behind me and projecting this way, I think kills that echo a little bit.
Nice.
So
absolutely, it's a science.
So far, it sounds better. Nobody's,
Yeah, you sounded good before I got on.
Yeah, thank you, appreciate that.
Yep.
Ticky Tack, how's your day been, man?
It's been long. It's been a pretty tiring day.
You look beat up, man. I got to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's been a long few days. So I've been working probably like 10-hour days. So
Yeah, that sucks.
I aspire to work 10-hour days.
Well, if it was something I enjoyed, I'd probably be a lot happier.
That's a big thing. I was at I get asked all the time how I work, and my wife thinks I'm nuts. My wife thinks I'm crazy. I'll be out in the garage I'll work out in the garage all day. And in between, so I'll work out there and I'll come in and I'll do something on the computer. I'll send some emails, make some phone calls, go right back out and work in the garage, get done with that. I kind of self-limit myself right around like 3:30, 4 o'clock. I'll come back inside. If I'm streaming, I'll do like an hour, maybe 2 hours of prep time, just kind of reading what's up in the news, whatever. And who's debating who, whatever, that kind of stuff. And then I come out here and I'm on screen for 3 hours minimum. And I go in and I go right to bed. I'm a fucking machine that way. Like I get up at 5:30 in the morning.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
well,
I have a whole schedule just like that. I mean, I'm very consistent on it.
Weirdest thing for me is that working on a computer tires me out a lot more than like physical labor. So it's like
that's a true thing.
When I worked at the motorcycle shop, sometimes we work in 12, 14-hour days and it just felt like nothing. It's like I could still go back home. I could, go in the shower, cook myself a meal. It was all chill. I wasn't like feeling like dead inside. But working with computers all day, it's like, it's just so mentally straining.
It's really hard on your lower back to sit in a chair all day.
That is very
true. Your posture gets fucked up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's probably a big thing.
And that makes you really tired. Like when you're back, I don't care what else. Like my legs maybe this is just me. My legs can hurt. My arms can hurt. I can literally work over my head all day. But if my lower back starts hurting at all, I'm fucking done.
It's over. Yeah.
It's over.
It's over. Just call it out. It's done.
Yeah, I want a nap. Like I seriously like the minute that I'm like, oh, I want a nap. I want to go lay down. I want to go to bed. And
so, I've always had a problem with recognizing pain. So it's like that I could be under pain and it could be affecting me a lot, like emotionally, but I don't actually feel it. And that's kind of like that's kind of how I had like my pulmonary embolism for like an entire day before I thought like, oh, I need to go into hospital. It's because it's like, yeah, it was pain, but I just attribute it to like pulling like a muscle in my chest or something like that because I was doing heavy workouts. And as soon as I went to the hospital, all the nurses were looking at me crazy, like, "Why are you standing right now? How are you able to? You drove here? Like, what the heck? That's not normal for somebody who has a blood clot in their lung." I was like, "I don't know, just how it is."
I have not had that, but I have been really bleeding a lot. And didn't think anything about it. Finished up what I was doing, wrapped the towel around it, went to the I literally went to the urgent care. I didn't even go to the emergency room. Went to the urgent care, and I walk in. I got all this blood and everything all over me, and they're like, "What are you doing? What's wrong with you?"
Yeah.
I'm like, I mean, it stings, but I mean, could just kind of shut that part out. And I thought, well, I was kind of bleeding a lot, but I didn't think that much about it. This is just, I'll make more. And I don't know, I'm being a little facetious there, but it was really a kind of I remember the look on their faces was like, you really need to like lay down now.
Yeah. Well, I do live by a bit of a philosophy. Pain is just temporary, and it's a reminder you're alive. So it's like I really don't thread it that much.
That's true.
Yeah. I don't know. I have a very, very high pain tolerance. I don't know why. I shouldn't, because I've hurt myself so much. I ought to be like really concerned about getting hurt. But I honestly don't care. Whatever, it's fine. And I always like it when they're like, "Hey, this is gonna hurt," and like I'm like, "Okay," and they put the needle in or whatever, and I'm just like, "Okay." That's cool.
Oh no, needles I can't handle. That
Really?
I pass out for. Yeah, those are the. I always have to warn the nurses whenever they're putting IV in, and I'm just like, I may pass out. I don't know what it is. It's just it happens.
I've heard of it happening. I've heard.
Do you not look at it when they do it? Like you have to look like 100% look away. You can't see it.
Yeah, I usually have to cover my face and just let them do it, and just even the feeling of just something going underneath my skin just.
Well, I know.
I don't know how we got on this subject.
Tattoos, so I've got friends with needles, I guess.
Yeah, I don't have a thing about. I actually don't really think about any of it. Once upon a time, when I was a very young person, I might have been in junior high. I might have been like 12. I was shooting a pellet gun at a brick wall. And the pellet ricocheted, or it shattered and ricocheted in a sliver of it hit me in the forehead. And I thought, oh, fuck.
I'm going to shoot your eye out.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't really worried about that. I was like, and I could feel something underneath this, like I could feel something in there. It was sharp. I could feel the drag on my fingertips. And I'm like, all right. So I went in the house. I stood in front of the mirror, and I took my switchblade that I wasn't supposed to have, and I dug it out of my forehead in the mirror, and just didn't care at all. This is just like, okay, it's fine. But I've done like stupid stuff. Like I dropped recently. This is recent. It's just a year or so ago. I was working on a car, and I was using a slide hammer, and the slide hammer, I had set it down on like a little tool rest or something. So it was actually just a mechanic's sitting creeper, and I set this slide hammer down on there, and I turned back to do my work, and it rolled off and hit my foot. It literally fell right across the top of my foot, and it hurt, but I was like, that's all right. And a few minutes later, the pain more or less subsided, and didn't think anything about it. And so I left like the next day or the day after. I went to Missouri to shoot a 3-gun match, and it's really hard. It's called the Blue Line match, and I actually shot it in the hard ass division, which means I shot the whole match in one day. Like,
gotcha.
Start, and it's hard. I mean, it's hard enough as it is. But to do it all in the same day is like
hard on your body,
like next to impossible.
Yeah, it's hard, literally.
And and by the time I was done, my foot had swollen so much that like I was loosening my laces between every stage. I would
Mhm.
loosen the laces up a little more, a
Mhm.
little more, a little more. And it was getting to where I really like, I was still running and stuff. I was really like, man, this really fucking hurts.
Yeah, until he's got a
Mhm.
hoof down there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
and and when I got back and my left foot was just swollen
Mhm.
an amazing amount. And I took my shoe off and I looked at it and I'm like,
Yikes.
I called the organizer and I'm like, I know I was supposed to do this again tomorrow, but there's no way. Like, there's no way.
Better safe than sorry.
Oh no, I just there was just no,
No,
it was
physically
no,
couldn't do it.
yeah, it's just
Yeah.
like I knew that I could probably get my shoe on, I could probably get down there, I could probably start it, but the entire day would be
Miserable.
really bad.
Yeah.
But I've done a lot of stupid shit like that. I fell on my face once. That's awesome. I was again, and a lot of things happen because if I do something to stop it from happening, something worse happens. So I was again shooting a match, and we were in a I don't know if you've ever seen like cowboy action shooting. They have like these fake movie prop style Western towns or
Yep.
buildings. And so so we have to shoot through these windows like you're shooting into a bar, right?
Mhm.
And then I performed a reload, and then I launched out of that position, and I don't know what happened. Then all I know is that I was falling, and I had a hot pistol in my hand. So I just went out. I didn't even try and stop my fall because I was afraid if I tried to stop my fall, I would accidentally trigger round off. And who knows where that's going to go?
Yeah.
And I literally just fell right on my face. and so my eye pro came out, my ear pro came out, my hat's all fucking. Oh, and by the way, I had a backpack, a double rifle bag, backpack kind of thing that was full of God only knows what, plus my shotgun and rifle. It was part of the stage, as part of the props, and that was on my back, and that actually came over my head enough that the strap actually came over my head and came back down, and so I had like this strap was on this was over this side of my neck, and this strap was too.
Yeah.
And so I keep shooting. I don't know what happened. Well, I shot as best I could with the pistol, and then I had a misfire or something like that, or I had an issue with the pistol. So I just put I abandoned pistol, and then went, and you had to run down and put the rifle back down, then retrieve the rifle.
Mhm.
Well, I'd gotten my eye pro back on, but I had no ear pro. So as I'm coming out of the building, bringing the rifle up on the first long range target, I just look at the RO and say, I do not have ear pro. And I started to engage the target, and he hit the ear muffs on me. He took his ear pro off, put them on my head, and then he did this. And so I would, and then I got it. I went, shot the long range. That was fine. 1-1-1-1, and then went into the building, and I'm shooting in this building, and then I realized that my mouth is filling up with blood.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, this is cool. And so so the drill became with the rifle is I would shoot, spit, move to the next position, spit the blood out.
Mhm.
And you could just feel it like filling my mouth up because I every time I breathed, there's more. And then I abandoned the rifle, went to shotgun, and then I realized really quickly that I was something was messed up because I couldn't hit any of the shotgun slugs at all. And so as soon as I finished, I literally turned around and a guy stuck a big mass of gauze right in my face. and it was one of those things that's like, it was crazy. It was crazy on a lot of levels, but it was especially crazy for that. And I think I had Ben Brown, who was a paramedic, he's there, and he was shooting with us, and he's like, do you feel like you might have a concussion? You look like you might have a concussion. And I'm like, nope, I'm good. I'm good, boss. And he's like, I don't know. I don't think you are. And But I finished out the rest of the day shooting, and I went back to the hotel room, and I never sleep during the day. And I literally just laid down. I was like, I'm just going to lay down for a second. I was gone. My son said that I was out for like 3 or 4 hours.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
And then I was like, well, well, I mean, obviously after it was over, I was like, maybe I was a little concussed.
A little bit.
Maybe a
Yeah.
little bit.
And falling asleep is not a good idea when that happens.
No.
Apparently, no, it's not.
No, it's not.
But it is something that you really, really want to do. And I was like, maybe I should be a little different than I am, but I'm not. I am who I am. And I had actually bled all over that bag, like a lot. And they gave that away that bag was a prize.
Oh man.
And so they actually they actually, I think, ended up auctioning it off, and somebody paid money for the
bloody one.
For the blood, yeah, more. Well,
Nice.
Mr. Boulay and the
Mr. Boulay and the Department of Numismatics donated $10 super chat. It might be a tumor. It's not a tumor.
That's funny.
It's not a tumor.
Not a tumor. It's not a tumor. So yeah, it was an interest. I've hurt myself a lot actually. Now that and it's, I mean, it is what it is. But I freak a lot of people out with the amount of the lack of concern about losing blood and the amount of pain I can take. It freaks people out.
Hey, I feel that. I died 4 times from blood loss.
I know you especially. It's funny because when I saw your picture of where you lost your where you lost your leg, everybody was messaging me going like, "Should we even have this on here? Like, this is sketchy, man. Like, is this guy trying to get your channel taken down?" I'm like, no, I don't think he is. I think he's just like being really upfront about this. Like,
oh yeah.
Like,
I didn't pass out or anything.
Me losing my, because I forget what I said to you, but there was some reason that it was relevant.
Yeah, it was relevant. You were on your show, and I was in the chat or something like that, and you're like, "Oh, you lost your leg from a drunk driver, whatever." Like, you asked me a question, and then I think I sent that to you. I go, yeah.
Yeah, we were just I think we were just kind of going back and forth on what the not reality, but what the what it was, right? Like what was the circumstances of you, because I think you had said that you had told me that, oh yeah, I lost my leg, and I was like, really? Like, yep, I'll send you pictures, and I'm like, okay.
Yep.
And damned if you did not send me pictures.
Yeah. Yeah, it was brutal. And I wasn't passed out or anything. I was sitting there actually explaining what had happened as I'm actively pouring out into the street, In that picture you can see it, which is crazy. But yeah.
Yeah, that was nuts. That was absolutely I'm not going to show it on YouTube, guys. I don't know. That it's it's bad. It's bad.
No,
I don't know
it's a brutal one.
But
I mean, I show it on my shit, but you don't have to do that.
I mean, if you don't, I don't know the TOS on that, so I'm.
Yep, as long as it's in education, you know what I mean, in a context of education, then of course. But you don't have to do that. Don't worry about it.
Right.
Yeah, you probably don't want people in here going like, "Oh, dude, I didn't want to see that," because the other part of the leg is in 20 pieces.
Yeah, that does kind of. Actually, I'm going to show you guys this. Whoops. What did I do? There we go. Let me show you guys this. This is the story I was just telling you. I'm going to share this. That's my rifle.
Oh yeah,
Wow.
That looks great.
That's my rifle after that day. There's literally like blood everywhere. I'm not kidding. I was literally like aspirating blood.
Oh yeah.
And it was like blowing all over the place. Every time I'd breathe, more blood went.
No, that's
places.
fantastic.
Yeah, isn't it? I didn't realize it was. That's actually at the next stage. Like I had already put it in my bag. I had already, and I'm
Move
getting
up.
ready for the next stage, and I
Mhm.
pull it out, and I'm like, holy crap! There's blood in the lens.
That's
I'm like,
probably when
huh.
you realize for real, like you're like, oh man, like now it's a mess.
Yeah. So new kind of lubricant? No, that is not a good lubricant. That is not the is the opposite of that. Actually, it will mess up your stuff. But yes, that was a day. So, but
Want to roll on the topic a bit?
yeah, let's roll on the topic. So actually, this rolls us right into the topic. By the way, Smoking Patriot, welcome to the show. You've been very quiet and awesome.
Patient.
And it's interesting to it's because you said that you'd made kind of a study of tonight's subject, but I'm really interested because now we've talked about all of the pain that dudes are willing to suffer.
I don't think it's as common anymore.
I agree. I 100%. I know it's not. Kids today cry if you trip them in soccer, which is what you're supposed to do. But I'm very interested to hear you guys' opinions and your experiences with the modern kids and young men and young women, and maybe it's just a different kind of motivation. Maybe it's that they are motivated more by, maybe they're motivated more by reputation now, or maybe they're, whatever it is. I'm just really trying to understand what it is. And Damien, I don't disagree with you. I think modern kids do probably need more parkour in their lives. I just picked my son up from the climbing gym. So, hopefully he falls on his face a couple of times.
Well, I could kind of give a little of my experience on trying to throw like job advice to some folks on Discord. So there's a multitude of issues that's going on. One is definitely a kind of like a lack of motivation, but motivation in the sense of they are not getting a sense of a reward out of any of the work that they're trying to do. And I think it could just be a psychological thing because we're now in a society of like video games and social media where they need quick rewards and quick validation off everything they do. Whereas like with a job, the reward doesn't come until, weeks or sometimes months later, after like a project has been like quoted as success. So there's that. But then also a lot of kids don't even understand how to think critically to actually find unique jobs that they might be interested in. Like the idea of, so when I was 17, one of the things that I did is that I found all the schedules for the trash routes. I would garbage pick and I would resell stuff on Craigslist. And
wow.
Yeah, that's the entrepreneurship mindset right there.
Yeah. It's most of the time people would just throw out computers that, were like as simple, like the hard drive went bad or a RAM stick was bad, swap it out, and then you could resell it.
Old phones.
Yeah. There's also another friend of mine did pressure washing. So he went to Home Depot, he would rent a pressure washer and do a little bit of that until he could buy his own pressure washer. And he just kept upgrading his inventory over time and then offering more services. The thing is that when I actually describe these things to like younger people looking for a job, they're just like, how do you think of this stuff? How do you come up with this stuff?
Yeah.
It's just so
that's real thing.
They're just so baffled that people are actually capable of being creative in this sort of way. I'm just like, didn't your school teach you like critical thinking?
No.
Hell
no.
Like, come on.
Hell no.
So I think there's a bit of that missing as well. Is that or even let's say just even looking for a job. So when I actually needed something that was full time with a regular paycheck and stuff. what I did is I just opened up the phone book and I just started running down the list and calling people of where I think I could get a job.
Sure.
And most of the time they'll say no. But for but every once in a while they'll either give you they'll ask you to come in, fill out an application, or they'll give you a lead on somebody who's looking for a job. And then there's also one question that I would ask on some of those big corporate areas. I may not be able to apply directly to you, but do you use a temp agency or a hiring service to get your employees? And a lot of times they say yes, and they give you the information, and that's how you get your way in. And that's actually how I got my Liberty Medical job, doing cold call sales. So whenever I describe something like this, and I would help consult people with finding a job, I ask them, okay, well, how it's like, tell me what your process is through the day of how you find a job. They say, oh, make a few phone calls, they reject me, and then I just like would give up, and and then they wouldn't call anybody for the rest of the week. Where I just like, you need to get into the mindset of, if you're not working 40 hours for a job, you're working 40 hours trying to find a job.
Yeah.
So you need to allot 9 to 5 Monday through Friday calling people or filling out that next application, going online and following up with people. But again, it's a lot of them fall short because they just get demotivated. They get it's like they just start immediately go in this direction of feeling worthless about themselves, and honestly, that's something they need to figure out on their own. That's something you can't force onto them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting. I think there's multitude of things that are going on here. Like social media, the video games aspect, the instant gratification scale. I mean, we've told our kids forever, go out and do what is passionate to you. You know what I mean? And then it's not very passionate to go be a server. It's not very you know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, like I crave to be a cook. Yeah, dude, I don't. You know what I mean? Like, that's being realistic. Like, I look at that and go, do I want to do that even myself? And I go, no, most of the time. No, hell no, I don't want to do that.
Yeah. And I think how I overcame that was I actually put myself into situations where if I don't get a job, I'm seriously fucked. I will become homeless. And having that reality on your face motivates you to find a job, stick through it, no matter how shitty it is.
That's exactly what happened to me.
And I think that's another thing that kids are missing, is that they're not getting kicked out of their parents' homes quick enough, and they're living on their parents' time. So there's no motivation for them to really commit to a job because they have a fallback plan, which is just mooch on their parents.
Right. That is true.
So, Smoking Patriot, you said you had been making quite a study of this lately. What's your point of view?
Oh,
hello?
Are you muted?
He's not. Let me look.
Oh, maybe the audio side needs to change. Maybe the audio. I don't know.
No, he's fine.
Maybe he was trying to talk this entire time, and it's
maybe
an audio issue.
Mm-hmm.
Are you having an audio issue? You can type in chat.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I did 3 shows today. I haven't ate dinner yet. I've got to go eat. I'm starving. So
go eat and then come back and hang out.
All right. Appreciate you guys. I'll talk to you guys in a little bit.
You got 30 minutes for lunch.
Yeah.
See you around.
All right. Do I get paid lunch? Is it a paid lunch? At least, Okay. That's pushing it. That's, I guess, too unionized, huh?
Oh, that's a huge luxury when that happens. It's like, oh, I'm getting paid lunch now. I've definitely upgraded to the
I never got paid for lunch like that. So
you ever remember how you felt when you clocked out for lunch when you really didn't want to take a lunch?
Oh yeah, there was so many times where I actually wouldn't, and then my bosses would chase me down and be like, "No, you can't do that." It's like,
you have to take a lunch.
Where am I clocking out when I'm the captain of the ship?
That's right.
You know what I mean? What's gonna happen? I'm stuck up there.
Fonzarelli, you're welcome to come up. I know that you're an aspiring creator guy.
There you go. Get up there. Yep.
Smoking
absolutely.
Spaceman. Are you? Let's see if he's back. Maybe he's.
Right.
All right, you guys. I'll talk to you in a little bit.
See ya.
See ya.
Smoking Spaceman,
All
can
right.
you
Can you guys hear me
us
now?
Yeah, we got you now.
Can you hear me?
Got you now.
For some reason, when I opened this in Discord, it was playing through Discord. It wasn't detecting any of my audio, and I have been
Yeah.
talking for like
Well,
the past half hour.
That's weird. That's very strange. What did we miss? Did you say anything cool?
Yeah, so I just opened up. No, it was
Fredo's
just
playing
commentary about like what
Fortnite.
you guys were talking about. So
You know, I'm gonna allow it because you're playing with your woman. Yeah. Smoking Patriot. Did I say Smoking
listen,
Spaceman?
there's kids
I'm
on
sorry.
Fortnite that need a licking.
A lot of smoking
You did.
going on.
It's
out
okay.
here. It's a lot of smoking going on.
Oh, it's about that time to let my dogs out. So, you know what? I'll probably hop off for about 30 minutes, and
Yeah,
I'll hop back on.
Yeah, your dog's literally looking at you.
Yeah, it's exactly at that time, turn of 9 o'clock.
The
All right.
dog's like, it's time to go, boy.
Yep.
All right, go have fun with your dogs.
Yep. See you in a bit.
See it. Yeah. Belgian Malinois are exceedingly intelligent, and they have an internal clock, and they know when it's time to go. So Spaceman, you said that you've been making kind of a study of this lately. What did you come up with?
So it's kind of several things, and so okay, so I'm going to go back about 20 years to the early 2000s, and I remember. So I was homeschooled my entire life, and
okay, legit. What's up?
So yeah, I know it was. I honestly, homeschool is the best school, and nobody can talk me out of that. But I remember reading articles back in the early 2000s about how they were putting boys as young as elementary school if they showed any element of ADHD, whether diagnosed or not. So ADD, ADHD, they were putting them on Ritalin. So remember, this is like late millennial, early Gen Z. They're already growing up with like being on Ritalin and these mind-altering drugs while they're still developing. So that's factor one. So that's affected it. Let's also not forget, when it comes to Gen Z especially, they have grown up their entire life with social media. Like when I graduated high school in 2006, Facebook was just like in its infancy. Like MySpace was still very much a thing, and Facebook had just come out. Now imagine you're as Gen Z, you have Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, you have all these things. So I think a reason why a lot of kids / young adults, I think a big part of it is one of the factors is social media. You see the guy pulling up in the Lambo, gold chains. He's got the 3 hot babes going into a private jet. You see all this big influencer stuff. And so anybody who can say that, oh, you're just a custodian, you just clean bathrooms and offices, it's like, what's wrong with that job? It's like we've demeaned so much of the work that's done in this country that it's like, well, if I can't be a millionaire, if I can't have the hot 10 on my shoulder, if I can't have this, what's the point of working hard? I go work for Walmart, they're going to fire me tomorrow. I go work for this company, they're just going to fire me tomorrow and place me with an immigrant. So what's the point of working hard?
I've heard that line of reasoning, right? Or that excuse, right? Well, I'm not even going to bother to try and get a job because they'll just fire me anyway at any time, and then my life sucks again. So might as well just leave it alone and let it suck. And that's a weird line of thinking for me. But I've heard it, and not just from like Walmart. I've heard factory people say the same things. I don't give the company my best because they could fire me at any moment. Well, isn't that like self-defeating? like, isn't that the reason the company might fire you is that you're not doing your job to the best of your ability? I mean, it just seems it's so interesting to me, right? Like, And obviously,
I mean,
this is not a new problem. This is a problem that's been, to some degree, just growing every generation. And every older generation goes, well, you know, back in my day, kids did this and we did that. But there is some truth, right, in the idea that, like, when I was a kid, I really wanted to do a lemonade stand. My parents didn't let me because, you know, they would have had to have, they didn't have the time. They would have had to have gotten involved, and they just didn't have the time. And my parents weren't that, you know, they meant to be good people. They just weren't capable of being very good people at that point in time. But it's so ridiculous now. Like, kids don't, like people write articles about kids who want to do a lemonade stand now. Like, it's so off the wall. Or dog walking, or mowing lawns. I've literally tried to get my kid to just get the lawnmower and just go down the street and mow lawns, and nobody does it. They all hire literally everybody on my block has a company.
yeah.
like has teenagers that are 20-year-olds that come out and mow the lawn. And what does it mean now, right? Like if and now you have everyone that wants to do, well, not everyone, but you know, you have a large chunk of people for the past 10 years have thought about nothing but the gig economy, right? Like, they don't even want a job. They're like, well, if I can make $100 a day, I'm good. If I make $1,000 a day, I'm golden, right? And I can do that if I go get my Uber and just Uber my ass off. If I deliver for DoorDash, you know, if I deliver 30 meals, I'm gonna be golden, man. And so I actually don't mind the gig economy, because you have to be motivated to do it. But at the same time, I'm like, why can't you just go get like a job, or if you're that entrepreneurial, create a career, create an industry, right? It's very interesting. It's very, very interesting.
Well, the thing is too, is also with technology, like when I was growing up, like I grew up building Legos. Like every
Sure.
Christmas, I wanted a whatever. It could be
Absolutely.
a Star Wars X-wing. It could be whatever.
Yeah,
and I
my
literally,
kid wants
I
the
still
same
have it.
things.
I got it to this day. I got a big old bin.
Mhm.
Yep. But the thing is that most kids today, the moment they're popped out of the birth canal, by the time they're the age of 1, what are parents doing? Shoving a tablet, shoving a phone into their face. So
Yeah.
I feel like in a way, creativity has been purposefully stifled also.
So go ahead.
What are the things that kids want nowadays? They want fame. They want this. I mean, I think you might have heard this, Grid, but there was a study done a year or two ago, and the top thing I think it was high schoolers wanted to be for like a career was doing online content like YouTube, Twitch, that kind of stuff, because they weren't encouraged to become the next Elon Musk, become the next Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos. And in that same study, they looked
This
at
is
the
actually a
Chinese,
problem.
and the
I think
Chinese
you hit on something here. I don't think you realize what you hit on. The problem is that in my day, parents told their kids, you need to get a good job. You need to have a skill. You need to have a job. And then if you can be creative, if you can be a musician, if you can be an artist, if you can program computers, if you can do all those things, that's awesome. And maybe you'll make $1 million, but maybe you won't. But at the end of the day, you have a job. You have a career. Yeah, okay, maybe it's selling vacuum cleaners, but it's it's honest work, and you can go do it and you collect a paycheck every Friday or every 2 weeks or whatever your stipend is. And I think that we've lost that. I think parents now actually forget that. right? They
Yeah.
And they don't tell kids that. What they tell kids is, you could be the next Elon Musk. You could be the next Mr. Beast. You should do YouTube videos so that you can be the next Mr. Beast or the next Mr. Ballin or whoever, right? Like, this is the problem. This is exactly the problem, is that we've made work something that is this thing to be disdained. Honest jobs are disdained. Factory workers, like Alex Summers just said, his parents told him that he had to work. Now he's stuck in a factory, don't know about anything else. Sure. But
Yeah. I mean, like,
right.
Yeah. Well, but that's the thing. It's like imagine that. Okay, let's say your son, he graduates high school. He comes up, says, "Dad, I want to become a trucker. I want to get my CDL, and I want to drive big rigs across country." Nowadays people would probably laugh at him and be like, "You want to be a trucker? You want to? Man, that is such a lame job, man."
I mean,
There's nothing
K2 keep
cool
on trucking
about
in the chat. I'll
that.
tell you,
That's what he
makes the
hears
bank.
from everybody.
K2 keep on trucking's out in the chat, and he'll tell you right now.
No.
People
I
make
agree.
bank. Yeah, they make bank. And so, but here, all right, let me. I'll give you a real example. I'll give you a real. Hey, Clover Tech, what's up, buddy? You can jump up, jump over into the waiting room and get the link, okay? If you haven't already gotten it, come on up anytime. So here's the thing. So my kid, I'll give you my kid. From my personal experience. My kid's lazy in a lot of ways. And it's most of the ways he is lazy has to do with him. Chip and Flint, dude, got that diesel rolling.
Yeah, buddy. Oh, I didn't realize I was up quite yet.
Yeah, I got to turn you down. Your mic is too active.
So, yeah, as far as making money, I've never made more money in my life as I do driving. When I'm hauling gravel, it's $40 an hour. Right now, in the past, 3 days, Monday and Tuesday, I made $1,500 between the 2 days, and I expended almost no calories.
What? So, and I know that Chip and Flint and I actually talked almost a year ago about how his because he was very concerned about his career. He needed some dad advice, I guess, and I did what I could, and it seems like it's come out pretty well, honestly.
Absolutely.
And but I'll tell you, so my son, he actually had a, he wants to go in the military because, I said this the other day, he wants to go in the military because he doesn't want to burden his mom and I with paying for his school. He doesn't want that. He wants, he wants to do it on his own. I think that's really admirable. Now, he needs to get better about actually doing work, but that's it's I don't know, it's an interesting thing. I don't understand where kids today's motivations are. I don't understand why they're not more motivated to do things, to get a real education and go to like a trade school. But I will tell you this, my observation is, and I could be wrong about this, my observation is, you guys tell me if I'm wrong, is that for the most part, as Smoking Patriot said, a lot of parents first of all, they don't know any better, and so they don't really give any guidance. And obviously my position is that most parents infantilize their children. You have that, plus the schools aren't really teaching anything useful. So except, hey, go to college and get a degree in basket weaving or whatever. So these kids don't even really start learning how to support themselves until very late in life. And then they're looking around at these people with Lamborghinis or Ferraris or, wear suits every day and or can walk into or, guys that can just walk into any gun shop in the country and just buy whatever they want. And they just have the money to do that. And people look at those guys and say, I want to be that guy. I want to be that influencer. I want to be that real estate mogul. I want to be that guy who talks about how awesome his life is on the how awesome they are online, And I really feel, what's that?
Not having to worry about money is such a beautiful fucking thing. And you don't have to be rich to not have to worry about money.
Well,
I'm not rich. I am not rich.
You're moderately well off.
I went and had to pay some fucking taxes today. It fucking sucks, right? Like, and I come back, had other things that going on, obviously, with being gone for nearly 2 weeks or whatever. And,
I have a lot of truck drivers. And I just realized that Mr. K2 Keep On Trucking, Chip and Flint, and several other people are truck drivers in my chat. I guess
here's a
I've known
shout
it.
out to my fellow truckers.
Yeah, I guess I've known it, but they're coming out right now. They're like, do this.
They got nothing else to do, I guess, right?
Yeah.
What do you do?
They're on the road a lot. They're on the road a lot. They listen to the radio all day.
Well, at least
I got to get up on that. What's the satellite radio now? It's Sirius.
XM or Sirius.
Yeah, I got to get up on Sirius, man, and then I'll have all the truckers listening. So.
There you go.
I mean, they could listen to audiobooks, right? Or, they could listen to talk radio. They could do this or do that. But the thing about like online stuff is it's interactive.
So
So they're not just passively listening to something. They can actually participate, which is awesome.
So how much money do you guys think it takes to not worry about money?
Honestly,
for you,
I think it's very subjective to
Yeah, it is super.
Well,
subjective.
right, but for you, where you live, how much do you need to not worry about money?
$8,000 a month.
$8,000 a month.
Probably, provided that I've got at least low 5 figures in savings at any given time, 4 to 5 a month.
Okay. How about you, Flint?
So,
well, that was
here in
needed.
Florida,
Never mind.
everything's gotten way more expensive. So,
I couldn't hear you, Flint. I'm sorry.
no, go ahead, Flint.
So I was the one that said $8,000 a month, but that's accounting for like catching up when I wasn't working and slow down periods and like that, and trying to advance things a little bit. I'd like to buy some land in the next 5 years.
Okay, I like that. I think that's cool.
But
So
other than that, like taking that out of the equation, 6.
okay. So most of it. So this is Arthur Guy says she needs about $4,000 a month, but that's not including saving anything for retirement. So I really need more for future planning. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So if we're talking about, so all of those are great answers. I think those are all accurate. Who here? I mean, obviously, I think Clovertack. I think your kids are grown.
Yeah.
Chip and Flint's kids are in cradles. Smoking Spaceman, do you have children?
No, I'm
They're
divorced.
not Spaceman. Smoking Patriot. Man, I don't know why I keep saying that. Because I like space, motherfucker.
Because I talked about the Mandalorian.
Yeah. What? Do you have children?
No kids. No kids.
No kids. Okay. Are you married?
Nope. No
Okay.
kids.
Do you live in a?
Divorced.
Do you? Ooh. Do you pay monthly for your divorce? Are you on an installment plan?
No, it was straight clean good.
Gotcha. Okay.
Oof.
It took you a minute to understand that I meant were you being held up by your ex-wife to pay you?
Or are you being held up?
Wait, so that thing on my back is not a
Or
45?
were you being
That-
bled
that-
a slow death?
Yeah. The thing in your back is a knife, and they're twisting it. So I think everybody, you know, the way you guys expressed it, I think is pretty accurate, right? I think that so $5K a month is what Clovertack, you said $5K.
Yeah, I think I said more like 3 to 4. 3 to 4.
3 to 4. Okay, so
In that range.
yeah,
That's provided I've got some type of savings.
damn son, that's only like that's not much.
No, I'm telling you, if you do shit right, like
Yeah.
if you're smart,
I mean,
if you're
that's
smart,
really like
and you,
under 50 grand a year.
and you don't have debt. Well, you got to realize this county is under the average, well under the national average for like median income.
Sure.
Like 10 grand or something under. I mean, it's insane.
Mhm.
At least 10 grand. So
What about,
I don't live in an expensive county.
I know that you're. I mean, we've talked about property out there. I've got to
Yeah.
do that. I got to actually buy some property out in your.
That's what I had to pay today was property taxes. It sucked, but you know.
How much was your property tax? I'm curious.
$1,900.
Okay, that's less than. I mean, that's more than mine. But you just said you were pretty expensive on that end.
Yeah.
However, when I was in
you gotta consider what they're being paid on. My house is shit, bro. Like
Yeah.
it ain't even funny. So I mean, like that's primarily the land, I guess. I don't know. I hope they get rid of property taxes around here. It's it's stupid.
Yeah.
They're
So
way
you know
too high.
in California, my property tax was like $1,200 a month.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
here I pay like
that's-
$1,200, $1,300 a year.
Yeah, that's nearly 40 acres and like the homestead and the house
Yeah.
is my part of that. And I mean, as parents and aunts and uncles die off, that'll grow. You know what I mean? Because I'll inherit property. But
Mhm.
for now,
That's Sherman's
that's what I'm
promise.
stuck with. Yeah, it used to be cheaper before my grandmother and grandfather, and I added about 20 acres because of them. So
Okay.
in the last few years, so it used to be closer to 1,000. You know, 800, between 800 and 1,000, let's say.
Arthur
but in the
Daya, your
last few years,
property
it's went up.
taxes are $10,000 a year. What
Oh,
hell?
I wouldn't doubt it. I've heard stories like that.
Damn, son.
No,
That's
thank you.
ridiculous.
And Anson has given her no kids, so she's
Yeah.
paying for school she doesn't use. Yeah, that's my biggest problem with property tax. So I mean, my monthly spend now. You know, keep in mind, I got a kid in daycare, I got a kid in private school. You know, and this includes a couple of. I mean, I own a bunch of properties, and we just we keep adding. I think my monthly spend it floats somewhere between 18 and 26. Is what I spend
What, my month?
a month. Yeah.
Wow. Like, wow.
Yeah, but I mean, I
Good
got
for
like
you.
10,000 in mortgages.
No, I hear you. You got way more asset and everything else. I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, when you boil it down, I'm probably really spending about 10 to 12.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah, I could live off a whole lot less. I mean, we could legitimately, because we've had that conversation before, we could legitimately get to a point to where I think we could probably live off like $1,000 a month, like no shit.
so my parent, we'll get that in a second.
But the
Bristol Trooper,
quality,
hey buddy, how you doing, man? Good to see you back in the chat. Glad to see you out there.
The quality of life we would live at $1,000 a month is not something that we have to do, and therefore we don't want to do it. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like-
So my parents, pre-Biden, lived on roughly $800 a month. They owned their house. They owned another house. The only money they actually spent was like their power bill, which was averaged about $45 a month. Their phone bill, which was another like $28 or $30 a month, whatever it was, because they used Cricket, which is weird, but my parents lived frugally. They'd spend a couple of $100s in food a month, but a lot of times, they were getting a lot of meat from They were getting. I'm sorry, I keep hearing a whistling, and I think my dog's outside whining.
Oh no, it might be my my turbo.
Okay.
And the air cleaners.
Gotcha. And they, basically the only extra money they spent was for coffee at like Waffle House or something. They didn't go out to eat. They don't do anything. So they didn't do anything.
You know,
now my mom's leaving. My mom is now living even cheaper because obviously my stepfather passed away. She doesn't really go and do anything that's not free or really low cost through whatever senior center or whatever, or the kid us kids take her. It's like I bet that bills and all, her monthly spend is like $500 a month.
Yeah, food is a big thing for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
And if they ever, and I've helped a lot of people try to figure that out and better their situations, but spend a little money on a chest freezer, even if it's not, but one of the smaller, $150-ish ones, and you do that, and then you have the capability then to shop the sales, actually figure out which of your grocery stores, the meat specials, what time of the month those happen, what time of the month the canned goods specials, and all the other things. And kind of once you get into that cycle and get that down, like food for us is a fucking nothing burger. Like we've got stacked freezers and refrigerators and cabinets all the time, and and now it's not junk. We have a few like junk food things, right?
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, it's shit you have to get in there and cook.
Yeah. So again, my parents live in a small town. It's a farming town, or my mom does now. My mom lives in that town. She goes to the farmer's market. She knows the people there. They always give her good deals. My brother, my nephew, we all hunt. We all, my mom gets meat that way. She lives really cheaply. But again, she doesn't really do a lot. She doesn't go to coffee at whatever. She just doesn't do much. I think her property taxes are like super low because she's over 65 or whatever it is. So the property tax is like super, super low. My property tax is, like I said, $1,200 a year. So I don't even, per property. Now that's, we've got a bunch of them now. So, but yeah, it's interesting the amount of money that you really need to live on and the amount of money that would, now what is, all right. So, Smoking Patriot and Flint, by the way, I muted you down because your phone's picking up everything in the background. So, you can just unmute when you need to talk. And so what do you guys really need? Or pardon me, other than what you need to live on, what does your like best life look like? Right? Like, what is it like? Obviously with Clover Tack, that's buying all the guns and ammo that he doesn't get sponsored for. I don't know what you do, Smoking Patriot. I don't know what Chipping Flint does, but just what does it look like with like, I'm not saying you're going to throw down a couple of billion a day like Andrew Tate does, but let's just say that you're going to have a great life. What does that look like in a monthly spend for you?
So for
one
me,
at a
like
time.
for
talking best
funsies,
life.
like money for funsies.
One at a time, guys.
Yeah. Are we talking funsies or are we talking bills included?
I'm talking about your bills, your mortgage, your, whatever you do for fun, retirement savings, if you're going to buy a business, whatever. What does that look like?
Ideally, probably around, in my perfect world, 10 to 12 a month.
Okay. So you're almost there
But
anyway.
Yeah.
right, and that would be like, buying a case or two of ammo a month. Going out to eat getting a steak dinner whenever I want. That type of thing. Having the land.
Patriot, how about you?
Yeah, for me, if I stay here in Florida, it's gonna have to be about 10 to 12K. But if I move to a cheaper cost of living state, probably about 8 to 10.
Okay. What does that cover?
That's all bills. That's, going to the range when I want. I'm pretty simple life. Like I don't have a lot of heavy wants. So for me, that'd be like, oh, I feel like driving around all day. So it's like, okay, a tank of gas whenever I want. Don't have to worry about, is this in the budget? It's a pretty simple life for me. So it's like basically shooting, driving when I want, going, like Flint said, like just going if I want a steak dinner, just going down to a steakhouse kind of thing.
Okay.
That's in a cheaper cost of living.
For me, what I enjoy, right, and I've come to a point in my life. I don't want to say I was always like this. I enjoy the money trade off on two different things. The first is time, and the second is experiences. That's a fair trade off in most cases for me, to trade money for time and experiences. Like I'm getting to the point I'm past the hard assets type thing and wanting stuff, right? Like I want to go experience, that kind of thing. And that can be eating, right? That can be going to some restaurant you've never been to before and trying it. That could be going to traveling to a particular place, whatever. And my wife's the same way. We're just way bigger into the whole, having time with the grandbabies, right? Is a good example of the time.
Okay. All right. Anson Knowles says 2,500 is what I need. All the leeches attached to me require $5,000 a month. All right. Okay. I completely forgotten to grift this stream. By the way, I forgot all about that. So I keep forgetting. And he says he values time more than money. Time is more expensive. Yeah, that's interesting. It's interesting.
Yeah.
That's very interesting.
Yeah. For me, I mean, I always look at, if it's a situation where, okay, I can make, man, I got all this. I could make, $1,000 today, or I could spend time with the grandbabies or go do this, that, or the other, which is more important. Making it for a lot of people, they're like, oh, I got to get the money. I got to make the money. I got to make the money. And I'm in a position now, thankfully, that I can sit back and go, you know what? Fuck that $1,000. Like, I'm going to go do this over here. This it's good quality time and experiences and memories and all of that kind of stuff. And it's just worth so much more than getting that $1,000, working for that $1,000.
Mm-hmm.
And I get some people don't have that luxury. But my point is not to flex that over anybody, but to say,
No.
It's something to work toward, to build yourself into a situation where you can do that.
What do you think Wrongful rage in that. I fixed that for you, wrongful rage. It's going to TTS, isn't it? Is it not? Dang it, boy. I apologize, sir. I thought I fixed that for you. Did someone say grift?
Grift.
$9.99 comes in from wrongful rage. I've got to get this to where it'll do the right thing. I think balance is key. So how do you motivate people to understand that throughout their lives, the experiences are going to be more important than they realize, and that while it sounds awesome to have a job where you make a lot of money every year, it's more awesome to have all the things you need in life and time to enjoy it.
Right.
How do you motivate people to do that? Because again, I keep looking around and I talk to these kids. I talk to kids at my son's school. I talk to just other kids and scouts and wherever, and they're really not motivated to do much of anything except sit and play online, and they'll spend hours and hours doing that for like nothing. Although some of them can make a little bit of money, but I legit have talked to guys who honestly believe their entire plan is they're going to stream. They're going to live stream gaming and make money doing it. They're going to be an esports star.
Yeah.
That's
they're basically doing the same thing that chicks do with OnlyFans, right? Like they're wasting their years that they could be doing something far more productive.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
And then pick that up later on. So I'm so grateful that don't get me wrong, I love what I do now. You know, a lot of you know, I just got back from fucking 10 days, nearly 2 weeks, whatever it was, in fucking Vegas, hanging with amazing people and doing amazing shit.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
All paid for everything else. But that I could never have envisioned 20 fucking years ago doing that, right? 20 fucking years ago, I was raising my kids. I was getting all of my shit in order. I was putting all the things in motion and I didn't know this all was going to happen that I'm doing now. I couldn't foresee the future, right? But I knew that I wanted more time and I wanted more experiences and I wanted to do other things. I knew that much. And I knew I had to do what I had to fucking do, right? I had to do man shit. So this a bunch of time to be able to get there, right? And so I think that's the key is there's nothing wrong. Was Keep on Trucking said something about out there in the chat about his boomer coworkers are telling me he'll regret working too hard. There's nothing wrong with working too hard in a certain phase of life. You want to do that, but you also want to be smart about your money and a lot of your other stuff. That way later on you don't have to work as hard.
Yeah.
I don't see a problem with working too hard when you're young.
Exactly. Yeah. That's when you can, right? Yeah. That's when you can. Like I could not raise 3 children and work 12-hour fucking days and shit. Like I couldn't do it now. I could not fucking do
it. For me, I definitely lost my work capacity for what I used to have in my early 20s. So I used to work 12, 14-hour days, 7 days a week because I was, I knew I didn't have a lot of experience. I was getting paid jack shit. But what that did is that built my reputation within the market of programming.
Yeah.
So as soon as I built all that up and I was working my ass off, now into my late 20s, I have a revolving door of just people that want to use me for work, so I always have that income coming in and I'm not able to work at my capacity like I used to. But they're on the same page because I worked with them in their 20s. They worked hard, but now we're in our mid 30s and we're like, we could kind of lay back a little bit on this, and just stick to the 95, 40 hours and all is good. Yeah,
so I like what you said there. So how do you motivate kids to do that? Where do you talk to young men? Because when you talk to young men now, actually, I need to address what Wonder Dog said. I'm sorry, I apologize. let me go to the right screen. There we go. Wonder Dog says, if you can make 500 a day streaming, why wouldn't you play video games online? You know what? Absolutely. If you can do that, great. How many kids are able to do that? How many people are legitimately going to be able to do that?
Not me.
It's going to be 1 out of 1,000.
You think it's 1 out of 1,000? I was thinking maybe a little bit more than that. Maybe like 2, 3, 4 out of 1,000. You know.
The thing is that the market is so saturated with people playing video games that it's just like
world over, right? But you're looking at that point, you're talking about the world. I'm talking about just kind of in just the United States, right?
Well, even in the United States, it's like extremely saturated. So for a short while, I was trying to start up a Counter-Strike team, and actually
I think
go
I think you said something about that.
yeah. And unfortunately, with like every single team that exists, it's like they're making literal peanuts. It's like that's maybe you'll win and maybe you'll get like $2,000 you could split between 5 or 6 people for the month kind of thing. And that's the most that people ever get. Those people in the pro leagues, it's like there's only maybe like 100 of them, and they're big stars on Twitch. Everybody knows them, and they're making bank. So I think the disparity between success in video games, it's a long truck, and it's a huge leap in order to get into the dollars.
Well, I'll tell you one thing that always motivated me was seeing my dad, grandfather, great grandfather.
Got super chat coming in from Metro Matt. 1 second.
Metro Matt donated $10 super chat. It's not that there is no incentive for manual labor. It's just that people have always taken the easy way out, and that way is streaming.
Yeah, Matt, I agree to some degree with that. I don't know how my call got so fucked up. I do. Look, man, I hear you. I hear you, bro. I do.
So I have maybe a little. If you want to read that first, go ahead.
Yeah, well, it did it through TTS. You guys just couldn't hear it because you're in here and you have to be on YouTube to hear it.
That's right. Yeah. So I think it's something that both millennials and Gen Zs, we're the ones who actually need to step up on this and encourage the youth to do more. Be kind of like what is it? Be the example for people who are younger, and talk to them and be charitable to them. And the second, the people who are just getting into the workforce, they need to take more risks in their life. They need to take the risk to plan to actually like leave their parents' place, even if they're going to be in their living in their truck for a while. Get a pool of money, live in your truck for a bit, understand how much that sucks, so it can motivate you to actually find a job and find a place to live. And as you work up on that, you appreciate all the things that you're able to accumulate over life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I've watched this kind of phenomenon growing, if you will, and I understand everything everyone's saying here. God is real. Are we getting rated by Flow State?
Looks like it, don't it?
It does. The Flow Man. I didn't know he was live. Florida State sent me over here from this chat. Okay. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Coming in from Flow State's channel. I don't know whether it was a Powdered Dusty or Flow State, but welcome. Glad to have you in. Unfortunately, I didn't see you come in as a raid, but that's okay. I'm sure it'll show up for people who are not doing the thing that I'm doing now. So hey, what's up? What say, Lou? Good to see you. I've seen your comments other places. So awesome, excellent, very good. Good to see all of you. GT. All right, cool. Shout out to Wrestler, the Presser man. All right, we like Wrestler. Wrestler's good. Hey, Wrestler, if you're in that, if you're out in the chat, you're welcome to come up. We'll do that. That's it. What's up, Powdered Dusty? How are you, sir? He must have echoed himself out. Yeah. Don't put me on 2 tabs, bro. I talk loudly. Flo, you're welcome to come up. We're talking about something you know a lot about, motivation, and yeah. So smoking, Spaceman. Actually, I'm not rethinking that. Their books were really bad, but we've actually started looking at some other business. I'll talk about that in just a minute. So there are the real deal, I think, with motivation now. I don't think any of us can really put a pin in, right?
Yeah. I might be able to
all right, cool.
extend a little bit more on that. Yeah, so a couple of things that I just had a brain fart and lost my thought, but
that's okay. I'll
motivation. We're talking about motivation, and continue talking. I'll pipe in when I'm ready. I totally had a brain fart. Sorry.
That's okay. God is real. All those things are true, by the way. I'm glad that you recognize my talent on loan from God himself. I'll be watching you, sir. Glad that you showed up. Also, Chuck Norris was not that great a driver. It's okay. That's okay. In all seriousness, we did work with Brian Johnson, who was a part of this little band, AC/DC.
Yeah, so I just remember what I was saying. So cool. Another thing that kids need to kind of learn is that they've probably been taught wrong by their parents or by their peers on how to just live life in general. Like they probably have been given a lot of bad advice, and they need to realize that they need to deprogram themselves before they could be reprogrammed.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah,
it's kind of like the idea of it's I
don't know that it's even intentional, right? You know the old saying, what is it? It's something like what is it? Bad times create hard men creates good times create soft men creates hard times, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so I don't think it's intentional. I mean, everybody wants the best for their children. They want their children to have a better life than they had, and that's just a human thing. And so I think it's an unintentional consequence of that type of thing, wanting better for your children, is sometimes you're not the best parent that you can possibly be, which means teaching them about hardships and things of that nature. I think that all too often falls through the cracks, and leading by example is a big part of that. I see, sadly, I see the generation younger than my children's ages or so. I see a lot of those that have family now that dad comes home and gets on the fucking video games.
Yeah.
And it's like, holy shit. Like I never would have fucking imagined after a, 8, 10, 12 hour, whatever it is day, coming home and having any time to myself. Maybe on the weekend or my days off or something like that, might have a little something, but not day to day like that, or not even video games. I mean, I know, I know one that, he comes home and he calls in sick to work a lot too, but, younger guy that's got a couple kids, and he comes home and he'll come home from work and go in the bedroom and lay down and read a book in there by himself until bedtime. And like he hardly any time with his children during the week. And it's like, I don't know. I don't get that. I think work ethic and hardships and things like that, I think are better taught by dad. They're better taught by a man than they are a woman, because we're the type that's like, we got to suck it the fuck up and get it done. Right. Like there ain't no excuses. We get this shit done. Once we get it done, then it's all good. I mean, we can party and we can fucking have fun, right? And I do that with my grandbabies nowadays. They'll want, it's like, oh, we want to help, Pop do this or do that. And it's like, okay, come on over. And they know they're going to get a treat. And they know they're probably going to get a $5 bill or they're going to get something out of it. But like, they'll be crying because they'll either work for 2 or 3 hours and they're fucking tired. And it's like, look, we still got another 30 minutes or whatever before we're done with whatever this project is. And we don't quit until this project's done. I'm sorry. Suck it up. Quit the crying. Get over here and get your little ass to work.
Well, kids today aren't taught the benefit of busting your knuckles open or getting a callus and then getting a blister under the callus.
Right.
Well, I think it's also that they're perpetuating the disease by wallowing in their misfortunes with other people who are doing the same wallowing.
Yeah, misery. Was it Misery Loves Company?
Yeah. So when you look at like a bunch of like, let's say Walmart employees that are stocking shelves and stuff, there probably is some pretty large circles of people who are just like, oh, they hate their life, they're unmotivated. They talk about, oh, I'm just going to get drunk and play video games, and that is something that perpetuates where, it's, if you really want to succeed, you need to surround yourself with people who are actually being successful. It's because those successful and successful doesn't have to be like, the person who's making like millions of dollars. They don't have to be these red pill people. They could be something as simple as, oh, it's like that they own their own home. They're able to feed themselves. They're able to have like one project car, and they show up to work on a 9 to 5 for like 40 hours, and that's literally like the bare minimum of a success in a lot of people's book.
It's an interesting thing as I'm listening to all of this, and a lot of what I'm hearing is that, and this is part of the reason why I wanted to do this tonight is, the whole week, strong men, weak times, all of that is, I think that's still to some degree true, but we've created an element of time where the being strong has been redefined, right? Like you can work, you can work within a framework and not actually have to work that hard physically, but mentally it can be exhausting. I think that for a lot of people growing up, they look at their parents and they see that their parents have, 2 cars with car payments. They have a house that they'll never finish paying for. They have a credit card debt every single month. They have all of this stuff. And I could actually see where someone with any brains at all would look at that and say, fuck that, I'm checking out. Fuck that noise. I'm going to go live in the woods. Or I'm just going to work I'm just going to work and live within my means, and whatever that means, that's what it means. I could actually see that. I could see that sucking the life right out of somebody if they watch their parents go through that. But the thing is that we're teaching kids a very, very poor set of standards. And I say that because what we largely teach kids today is that they do need a brand new house in the best neighborhood, in the best arena. They need 2 brand new cars. They need the best TV. They need a new computer.
Well,
they need leather couches.
I also blame a perversion of the American dream for that.
Yes,
too,
and that's exactly where I'm going.
For the longest time, the American dream was what it was supposed to be, which is equal opportunity to become any fucking thing that you want to be. To succeed on your own merits, to forge your own way, to do your own fucking thing. Wherever you ended up, right, was not guaranteed. but you had the fucking freedom to go do it, right?
Yeah.
You had the freedom to go try.
Right.
And this idea of the American dream got pushed to where it was the White House with the fucking picket fence and the 2-car garage and the fucking shit.
On day one. But it's that on day one. Right. And it's like my mom, and I credit my parents with telling me this over and over and over again. Kids didn't just go out and buy a BMW when they got married, right? They went out, they bought a shoebox Chevy or they bought a 5-year-old Ford, basic car, Plymouth Valiant or something, 6-cylinder, no V8, 3 on the tree, because you
I
couldn't
got my grandma's car.
Right. Yeah. And that's what, in their day, kids got a very basic, cheap car that they could fix, right? It had to be something they could fix because they weren't going to take them to, they weren't going to give these kids money to go to the mechanic all the time. Or these kids just weren't going to earn enough to do that. And then they get out, they get a job, they learn a skill, and they get they get what's called a starter home. We don't have starter homes anymore. Nope. You can't find one. You look around for a 2-bedroom house. They don't exist. They're not being built. They're 3 bedrooms, smallest you're going to find. And so where we actually had this this ladder where you could, in theory, grow yourself to being something that that your parents had, right? And your parents would tell you, hey, don't look at what I have as the end goal. It's not how you get there, right? This is the end goal. You don't just arrive at this day one after graduating high school or graduating college. And the fact that and so what we do now is we literally, kids look around and they see like the houses, the cars, they're brought up with brand new motorcycles, right? Like most kids, a lot of kids get dirt bikes for Christmas or jet skis or something that the dad pay or the parents pay for out of a bonus that they get or something like that. And then when they leave home, the reality smacks them in the face. And they do one of two things. Either they feel like that they can't get anywhere and they give up and they just take the first job they can get and suck at it, or they excel and they rise to that challenge. Wonder Dog says his starter home is his first and probably last home, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,800 square feet, built in 2022. Damn, son, sprung right for it. What part of the country do you live in, Wonder Dog? I'm just on Bull Shoals Lake. Okay, yeah,
Arkansas though.
In Arkansas, yeah.
Arkansas is pretty cheap to live.
Yeah.
Ain't too bad.
Well, I mean, it's on the lake though.
Well, still, I mean, compared to on a lake somewhere else, is what I'm getting at. Is pretty cheap.
Yeah. No, I mean, and even on the lake, it's kind of funny, but yeah, I mean, no, that's a good deal for you, Wonder Dog. How old were you when you did that? And were you married? But at any rate, Arthur Daya, I know you mean well, but did it at 42 unmarried. Yeah. So his starter home at 42. Yeah.
Yeah. I do not agree with her comment up there earlier. I 100% do not agree with that.
Which one? Our economy is requiring higher and higher skills.
Yep. I think that's very warped, sheltered where you live in a certain section of the country perception.
Yeah.
Here, and I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why.
Okay.
I'll tell you why. First of all, the one thing that pisses me off, let's just say that was fucking true. And you're saying that people don't have the ability to go to school and to do things. Okay, the local high school here, the top 100, it's a grant they do every fucking year. They have forever. Mm-hmm. The top 100 students, which is half to, maybe a third, depending on the year, of the student body, the graduating class, top 100, get a full ride to the local junior college. You can do a lot with moving ahead in life with simply just going to junior college for something. Out of those 100, every fucking year, less than 10% utilize those grants. So they're not even, there's something wrong. There's some disconnect where they're not even fucking taking advantage with it.
Yeah.
So even if that premise, I agreed with that, it's still fucking, there's a flaw there. But here's the other thing. High school programs across the country have welding and like high profile, high paying job training programs nowadays.
That's an
And you can
interesting
literally
observation.
you can literally graduate high school, go to work welding, and make massive amounts of fucking money. So this whole idea that it's rigged and the economy and you got it, that's bullshit. It's bullshit.
Hey, Chip and Flynn, as much as I enjoy looking at whatever it is I'm looking at, could you drop down for a little bit? Hello? Flint, my buddy, old friend, pal of mine. We'll get to him in a minute. At any rate, there he is.
Is he muted?
I can't hear you though.
He's not hearing me. Why is he not hearing me? Is he muted? He's not muted on my end. We can't hear you anyway.
Yeah, you're dead in the water. Jiggle the cable.
He's on his phone.
Have you tried turning it off and on again?
Have you tried smacking it real hard?
Smack your phone. All right, let's see. Where we got? ZD Din's got a TTS.
ZT Den donated $10 super chat. I keep saying this in these chats. Stop coddling your children. And do not underestimate your children. You built it from nothing and so can they.
I agree with ZD Den. Awesome. Thank you very much. I'm gonna drop you a like on that one. Everybody likes that, like the super chat because it worked. All right. So here's kind of the other side of this coin, right? And I want to address what Arthur Dye was saying. Mr. Clover Tack actually hit it pretty much right on the head. But the reality is even greater because a lot of companies will pay you to learn how to weld. They will pay you
or do other things.
Chip and Flint, I believe, was paid to learn how to drive a truck.
Yeah, apprenticeships are a real thing. Still.
Yeah, they paid for him, right, to get to learn how to drive the truck.
Yeah.
Sometimes
it requires a work commitment, right? Like you work for them for 2 years or whatever, or you have to pay something back or something. But it's a real thing. It's out there. It's not hard to find.
Yeah. I could bring up, I think it's because they've been taught that you have to go to college. And I remember my parents, that the reason why they encouraged us to go to college is because they didn't want us to work through the laborious jobs that they did. They wanted a better life for us.
Our tax dollars educated. I'm sorry, Tiki Tech. Our tax dollars educated Chip and Flint. He got a grant based on a letter of intent to hire. So the government trained him to be a truck driver because he had a job ahead of it.
Yep.
That's a fucking win. It's a fucking win.
Yeah. I think what has happened is that probably a lot of the Gen X generation felt the same way and taught their kids, go to college so you don't have to work the laborious jobs that we did. And I think we need to look at the reality of the situation, understand that, like vast majority of men, they're going to be working labor or service jobs. That's just how it is, so there is no shame in not going to college and going into the labor force. And I think that's what needs to be taught a little bit more.
So trade school. Here's an observation that I've made for
K2,
years.
hold, 1 second. K2 Keep on Trucking had the same type of program. He says here. He tells me here too. So he's also a truck driver. He works for a national company that makes really. I think he's probably making $100,000 a year, and or maybe a little more. And he got trained by his trucking company after 1 year of delivering of safe driving. And so every time, look, these are where this is how it really should work is an apprenticeship / work study program, so to speak. I also really like I kind of like what you guys are talking about here with, parents don't want their kids to do laborious work. However, because we've had a lot of debates lately about how AI threatens the jobs of laborers, and how the more automated we get, the worse that it's going to be. And I actually think I think they have that backwards. I think that the more we get into AI, the less we need computer programmers, the less we need the back end, the more you need people that can do the physical work.
Yeah.
And I think that I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. But I think if I were a parent, I would be telling my kid, you need to learn everything it is that you can do, because the world's going to be a different place, but it's not going to be the kind of place that you think it's going to be. And one thing I will say is that, and I think I've told this story before, my son, my son my son and I went to Oshkosh, which is the world's largest air show, and all of the airlines have their workshops there. You can go to any major air show, and the airlines are going to have their workshops there. And what they're going to do is they're going to tell you that if you commit to their airline for 2 years or 3 years, whatever it is, they'll pay for your training. That's $80,000 worth of training currently that they will pay for. Now, you do have to work for them, but you walk into a job making $95,000 to $100,000 a year day one. Day one, when you get in the cockpit, you're making big money. And okay, you top out at around $250,000, $280,000, maybe $300,000 a year, but you make that until and that's probably around year 3 to 5, depending on who you are and how much you fly, and performance evaluations, things like that. But if you just stick with it, you're going to get there around, I don't know, like $300,000 or so plus bonuses. But you get to make that for 15 years, every year.
Mm-hmm.
Then you retire. You could, if you were an enterprising 18-year-old young man or woman, you could get an airline to pay for your training to be an airline pilot, which is just an aerial bus driver, and 3-4 years in, you're making $250,000 a year for the next 15 or 20 years. You can retire from that and then have an entire second career when you're 45 years old.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, to kind of roll back onto the AI replacing jobs, I honestly don't think it's going to affect us all that badly. Like, I think the example that I would bring up is the Tesla factories. Originally, the Tesla cars were 100% robotic, completely automated, no bodies on the floor, except for the people maintaining the robots. And it turns out that in certain sections of the factory line, it was more expensive to run robots than to just have people assemble the parts. So they replaced the robots with people. Next, if AI ends up adapting to get into these labor force jobs, it's they're not just going to replace people, what's going to end up happening is the company is going to implement it. Operators are going to need to run the AI to make sure it's going smoothly, and then they're going to ask that guy, "Oh, run 5 machines that do the amount of 5 people, and you'll still get your normal paycheck with less labor." And that's probably the more likely direction that the company will go because it's more profits in their pocket.
Yeah.
Well, AI will almost always have a problem
Yeah.
with complex thought, right? With critical thinking, with things of that nature. So I mean, it's in certain sectors like the factory, like you're talking about, certain parts of a factory or whatever, there's always going to need to be those humans that can make the actual right call that needs to be made.
Yeah.
Because a robot is not able to lay eyes on it, rely on the actual tangible experience and everything else, tell by feel, right? Oh, well, I can feel the part coming off this assembly line's fucked up, right? Like it looks fine, but like I know because it feels a certain way that maybe the mixture of materials is off or whatever.
Yeah.
And nuanced things like that, AI will never be able to understand.
Yeah. Another example is trucking. I know that people say AI is going to replace trucking, which is like maybe to an extent, but the thing is that regulation is always going to make it where somebody has to be able to remote into the truck and drive it.
Yeah.
And what I think is going to happen is these people who are running just a single truck right now, they own the truck and they have their own trucking business. Now they're going to be able to buy 5 trucks and run all 5 trucks at the same time and just remote into each one whenever they need to.
So there's an interesting point to that, and I wish we had somebody that was in the industry. But so the automated ports in China that everyone talks about in Japan, they're not fully automated, and those trucks are not robotically driven. That's a misunderstanding that the press continues to run with for whatever stupid ass reason, but they're not fully automated. Those trucks, they can't even in a closed environment keep the trucks from just going from literally grid A to grid B and back again. They can't keep that happening. They have to have a human driver on board all of the trucks. Now, the robot cranes that pick up said kind of work, but they're not full. And when they say fully automated, what they really mean is that they're all controlled from a control center. And instead of a crane operator physically being in the crane, that guy's at a desk, like I'm at a desk right now, and he's using cameras and everything to operate the crane. But they can't do that with all the money they've spent. They spend like $12 billion or something modernizing these ports. That's why no port in the U.S. is fully automated right now, is because nobody wants to spend the $12 billion or more to automate a port. But
well, I also know that Amazon is using automated trucks. I think it's in California between distribution centers. They're having the trucks move from one to
they're also using R2D2. So
yeah. Well, the thing is that they only drive on the highways, and they still need a guy to either hop in the truck or remote in to back it into the bays and navigate like heavy traffic when they get into the cities. So it's like and I think that's always going to exist, and it's just going to be because of safety reasons.
Okay.
Yeah, you got to make those snap decisions based on, like, again, experience and stuff sometimes, right? And you got to do things by feel. So
AK2, that's not what I'm saying. I'm voting for the truckers industry is always going to exist. It's like, I don't think AI is going to take over.
there are now. I can see AI. I can see
and,
AI taking over in a few different places, but
Retail.
for me, the arts, right? Music, art, video.
Well, they're already doing that.
Right, like that. I can see that. Like, if you're a screenwriter, if you work some videographer, photographers, any kind of artsy bullshit, Yeah, you might need to be worried because there's going to come a day and time when I think AI can be good enough that the average person can just prompt some shit and crank it out. I'm already playing with some AI music software that is fucking phenomenal. So, um, I mean, you can't tell. I've done some songs and played them for people. I did it, a couple of weeks back, and they were like, "Holy shit, yeah, AI did that." And I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like, "That sounds like something you would legit hear on the radio." And I said, "No shit, pretty scary, right?" And so it even sounded like a modern artist or something. Not obviously it wasn't their likeness of the voice. That would be problematic, but it was not
Yeah.
the robot style voice like everybody thinks when they think AI. And
Yeah.
so those types of things I can see the concern for those people, but then it's like, okay, maybe you shouldn't have hung your hat on something, or if you did hang your hat on that, maybe you should have worked hard to become a superstar at that. That way, nobody cares about the fucking AI because they want your art, right? They want
Yeah.
the shit you produce. It's all about you. You are actually the product, not what you're creating.
Well, here's another thing. As sorry, I've been talking a bunch. Go ahead, Grid.
Well, we're gonna have to change the subject slightly, and I don't really care about AI. I just wanted to make the point that AI. Everybody keeps talking about how AI is going to, get rid of these jobs, but AI has very definite limitations. And I've heard all of the nonsense about it rewriting its own code, and Skynet is going to go active anytime now. I don't buy into it. So ZD Den, I actually looked into this earlier. Because somebody told me about it. The small aircraft crashed at near the Reagan National Airport. We're really not. I don't know. I'm trying to find out now if there are any more details of it, but I haven't been able to find anything that made me think that it was anything but stupidity. So give me 1 second. I will. It's
I
an.
have an
Oh wait,
explanation.
wait. That's not a small plane. So they said earlier that it was a small.
No, it was a
plane.
passenger airliner.
Is an airliner collided midair with the U.S. Army Black Hawk helicopter near Reagan. Yep. Okay, that they've changed the story now because that was not what they said earlier. No confirmed casualties. Okay. All right. So one of the things about military helicopters is they're on a different system than private or even commercial aviation. And I think what we're going to end up finding out is that whoever the pilot of that aircraft was, they skipped a step somewhere. And more than likely, they didn't turn on their identifier. And so the tower didn't know where they were. And there was some confusion as to where they were. So I don't know. The answer is I don't know, but we'll find out. So. Yeah. So the problem with look, K2, I get it. I think the problem with the problem with automating I think it's the same problem you have with when they try to automate the port. I think that's a perfect example because the port's a closed environment. It's the same cracks in the sidewalk. It's the same stop signs. It's the same everything every day. And you ought to be able, you ought to be able to have it work. But no, it doesn't work. Mr. Boulay, can we hear you now?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I have to turn my volume down now. I have to.
Oh, let me turn it down.
I got you, bro.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good evening, guys. How's everybody doing?
Doing good.
How are you?
I'm from the latest news. Sounds like I might have a busy morning.
No, you might have a busy morning.
Yeah, it was it was a UH-60 out of Fort Belvoir in Virginia, and they had like a midair collision. That was a regional jet. Didn't say what airline, but it was coming in.
American Airlines.
Okay, yeah. It was, from what I've seen, it was coming in for landing, and one didn't see the other or something, and yeah.
So here's actually one thing to ZD Den. So by law, unless if the airplane, and we'll probably find out it is equipped with one. By law, if a passenger line, if a commercial airplane, a passenger liner is equipped with auto land, which most are, by law, the pilot has to allow the auto land to land the plane in inclement weather. Now, I don't know what the weather was. If it was raining at all or anything like that, then they would have had to have used the auto land. But most pilots will land the plane on auto land anyway. There has to be kind of a good reason for them to want to hand fly the airplane all the way to the wheels or to the stops. So high wind, yeah, that's probably on auto land, and so they would have been there. There could have been a delay in taking control. More than likely, it was that for whatever reason, what am I trying to think of here? For whatever reason, the helicopter probably had its ADS-B functions off because they don't normally use them. And the tower did not know, or the tower wasn't even talking to the helicopter. They may have their own tower. I know at Smyrna, at my local airport, where they have a helicopter port, a military helicopter port there, I know that that there are times when the helicopters do not talk to the tower. They talk to their
usually when they're in close proximity to an airport like that, they're usually in contact with ATC because they're supposed to be. They're supposed to be, and they do have a civilian radio on them, so they can talk to ATC. But it's speculation.
They're talking to their own towers. Yeah, I think where it all starts falling apart is, and this is almost every military aircraft with civilian aircraft incident has always started with the same thing, and that is the military pilot was talking to his tower, the civilian aircraft is talking to their tower, but nobody's talking all at the same, to everyone, and therefore one hand does not know what the other is doing. So, but that would be my guess. But helicopters in high wind are kind of iffy too. It could simply just be as they were just too close to each other, and the helicopter got blown a little bit too far off course. So I don't know. We'll find out, right?
Yeah, I'll find out more in the morning, more than likely.
Yeah.
But hey, can I back the about truck driving? Share a real quick story. I'll make it quick. I have a cousin in Kansas. He went to a driving school, a driving academy, right? Mm-hmm. And he got some kind of like internship or think of it like an internship. Well, anyway, he got hired by a company, and they paid for all of his trucking school through the academy. Yeah, they paid for get his CDL license, and he got every addendum to the CDL license you can get, like hazard material haul and all of them. He was able to get every single one of them. They paid for his entire academy training. He's got a CDL and everything, and it cost him nothing. All he has to do is work for that company for I think it was 5 years, and then he's scot free. So yeah, and he got all the licenses. That's his to keep. So he's always going to have it, and he's out trucking, making good money. It's a good job, and hey, that's an industry that's never going away. So
yeah, absolutely.
yeah, you just, it's a good industry to be in. So look for these, these logistic companies and stuff. See if they need drivers, and if there's like a driving school somewhere, try to put 2 and 2 together. Because there's still, maybe K2 can speak to it more, but I know, as far as I know, there's still a high demand for drivers for sure.
So what's your input on why there seems to be so little motivation to go the extra mile? Why are today's young people, not just teenagers, but young people, why are they so allergic to excelling? Why don't they excel? Why don't they want to excel?
The lack of instant gratification, or maybe a little bit of entitlement. My previous employer, we brought in, a whole lot of young engineers right out of school, and for the most part, they were good. But to see them stay an extra, hour a day to work on their design and their drawing, their modeling, whatever. Yeah, that was kind of, you didn't see a lot of that from the young kids. If the job isn't easy, instantly intuitive, and there isn't a big payoff, it's like, why should I put the effort into it? I got to work so hard to make so little. And it's like, what's the point? It's a sad attitude.
We should probably hire middle school teachers to come in and hand out gold stars and clap and praise all the kids that come in.
Gold stars, baby.
Yeah.
I loved my stars.
They need the instant gratification, right?
Yeah, I needed my stars, man. I needed my stars.
Susie, good job with doing that 3D model. Here you go. Here's a little gold star for getting the drawing done.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my.
Do you think there's a lack of do you think the sense of satisfaction that you're not getting now, right? Because you're not doing the hard things. You're not spending the time and the effort and the sweat off your brow and all of that. Do you think the lack of that is having a really negative effect?
Possibly. The thing is that even when it comes to just like corporate office jobs, there's still the same issue. It's there's just not a motivation there. And so even with my office job, I guess they kind of do a lot of like cartoony things of having like they have like motivational speakers that come in, or people who've worked in the industry to do like seminars, and there's always like games to play and stuff. So that they are trying to attract that like young Gen Z ADD mindset into there. But I just kind of brought that up, just being like this is a problem everywhere, and not even just in labor, but even office jobs.
Yeah, well, yeah, right. I think a lot of people get stuck and think, well, it's just nobody wants to dig ditches, but nobody wants to code either. Nobody wants to sit there and debug something for 6 hours,
because it's hard.
It is. It is hard.
Yeah. I guess another thing is that I brought this up before, but what keeps me motivated is about being there for the team and my people. It's not necessarily for the project itself, and it does pay well. But the thing is that a payment hasn't ever really like kept me at a place. When I get sick of it, I walk out. I just people are a little bit too selfish in their mindset, being like, this is how does this cater to me, where they need to think about the people they work around and how if they weren't in that position, how much harder the other person's job would be. But being in the position, you could also help people through their struggles as well, that they may be thinking like, hey, I don't want to be at this job. And there's like, oh, I don't want to be at this job either. It's like we relate to each other somehow. So we could just like yell at each other and get all that anger out.
Misery loves company.
Yeah. In a better context.
Yeah.
Okay.
Something I did personally, and then as the company did, is we kind of encourage the like team building spirit, esprit de corps. We do. I know this sounds real cheesy, but we do like monthly potluck lunches. Everybody bringing a dish, and we all hang out. At lunchtime, and we made a kind of an after work thing on Thursdays. We go to a microbrew not too far from the integration facility. We all, after work, go out there, have a beer or something, just kind of chill and whatever. So that, little things like that help, help build the team, and maybe that in turn kind of help, motivate people. Cause they, once you make that personal connection, then it's like, oh, I don't want to let down my friend,
Yeah. And that's pretty much the connection that I have with this current job. It's, unfortunately, it's just the type of culture has been trying to attract younger folk. So those monthly like luncheons where people either we'd have something catered, we have a couple beers, or we have a chili cook-off or something. That just doesn't happen anymore. But I guess now that I'm older, I'm just kind of thinking, I'll let the kids have their fun kind of thing, and I'll be the adult here and take on the responsibility. I don't know.
I think that's a good
something.
observation.
Something though,
something that I've noticed in
don't all talk at once.
No, go ahead, Smoking. Go ahead.
Quick point. So something I've noticed also is working in, especially over the years at various retail jobs in the past, is that once you get up to a certain level, like a project manager, department manager, or store manager, you get very fat bonuses for great output. So what they'll do is they will literally, and I've seen this happen, where managers will treat their employees like crap, literally work them so hard so they can get that fat bonus, but no one else gets a bonus. No one else gets hey, great job on this. It's literally like everybody work hard so the man at the top gets the bonus. And when I talk to like Gen Zers or kids in high school, they're like, why am I going to work my rear off, get yelled at by customers, get threatened just so the store manager gets a 25% bonus, but I'm the one getting threatened here. Like, he's not getting threatened. I'm the one getting threatened here. Where's my perk to enduring all this stuff? And he gets to get all the perks of our hard work. He gets to reap the rewards of it, and I get nothing. That's also something I notice in a lot of jobs too.
Well, the thing is about those types of jobs is that the one thing they don't tell you is that you could just do the bare minimum and they won't fire you. It's they can yell, they could bitch and say like, oh, you're not working hard enough, blah blah blah, but honestly you really just need to do the bare minimum, and eventually they'll just give up and just let you do the bare minimum. But you're not going to go anywhere by doing that. So my recommendation to people in those types of jobs, though, is to find another job. It's like it's not going to be in a good work environment to be dealing with that. So if you ever have to do that job temporarily, don't worry about taking it so seriously. It's like you're not going to be there forever.
Yeah, but the one, I don't know, it's just perspective, right? And looking at it a certain way. But here's the thing. Like, yeah, okay, you've got they get that bonus, and I understand that, but they also shoulder a lot more responsibility if things go south and if things go wrong as well, where the people under them, the workers under them, aren't shouldering that responsibility. It's kind of like you just said. The ones under them can actually work the bare minimum and likely not lose their job, right? Yeah. Whereas if the workers under them are not doing their job, or there's a fuck up, or there's something like that, like that manager or something could potentially be responsible for that as well, right? Where the other workers are not responsible for their coworkers type situation. So like the bonuses make sense if you look at it from that perspective. And then you say, okay, well, you know, the manager or the whatever, they get the bonuses because that's part of that tier of employment or whatever. So the aspiration should be maybe to get to that tier of employment. And well, how do I do that? Well, I do my job to the best of my ability. I'm an irreplaceable employee, meaning that, you know, I do things in such a way, not that you go above and beyond and you put in extra hours and, you know, more work, but the way in which you work, right? You're not just going to bring somebody in and fucking replace me. Like I know my shit with whatever department I'm in, or, I've got great customer loyalty just because of the connections I'm able to make with the clients that come in, whatever the case may be. And then you're actually become an asset to that manager, and then that manager is, you know, trying to do the best and move up as well, right, and get up
Yep.
another rung on the ladder. And then when that manager gets up on the rung, guess what? He's potentially, or she has the ability to recommend a replacement, and maybe you get that replacement spot, and then now you're that manager, right? Assuming that again you want to take that step up and shoulder that responsibility. I think what happens all too often is the low rung workers want all the perks of the management and the suits without any of the responsibility, right?
Yeah.
And without shouldering any of that burden, and they fail to understand that, okay, a 40-hour week for one person and a 40-hour week for another person, it's not just about the hours fucking worked.
Yeah.
Yeah, all those managers did have to go through that same pain of being like the grunt worker, not getting the bonus, and having to do hard labor. So yeah, I
Usually,
guess the
right? I
story of
mean, there's son-in-law and brother-in-law shit and nephew shit that goes on. I mean, that does fucking happen. We can't discount that, but that doesn't happen all the time. I definitely don't think it's the norm. And then they didn't necessarily come up in that company, and I think that's what a lot of people don't realize is that they'll bring in a manager, right? And you're like, well, why didn't they promote somebody within the company? They brought in this fucker, you know, and we put in all this time, and they don't realize that the person they brought in has put in 30 fucking years at the company they were poached from, right?
yeah,
Like you just didn't see the work that manager put in to get to that point. That's all. And
Yeah.
so it's just a matter of slowing down. But that's also a product of the fucking me fucking society too. Like people don't think
Well,
outside the box or think from different perspectives.
I mean, I got to be just as somebody that's hired and fired a lot of people. You know, I got to be honest with you, and I will read Arthur Dye's thing first. Just speaking for her hospital that she works at, they look at people as interchangeable widgets and don't seem to value experience. So just speaking for myself and my, my experience hiring and firing people, I have to be honest. Most people just deserve to be fired, and they're lucky they have a job to start out with. And the reality is that they overvalue their own worth to the company, if anything. I would love to have had employees like my parents were that stayed with a company. They had loyalty to that company. They did the best job they could. When they made a mistake, when they failed, they felt remorse, and instead of arguing with the company about it, they would step back and say, okay, maybe I made a mistake, maybe whatever, but show me how to do it right or whatever. And not that my parents are particularly good people. I'm just saying that was their work ethic, if you will, back then. And so I do agree that, and I've hired people, like I pissed off my entire service writer staff, which was 3 people when I bought the body shop and brought in this guy from Cadillac. And but that was because I knew that guy was going to make me a lot of money, and that he could not only could he run circles around everybody else, but he could teach them how to do things properly. And even though they were really pissed off that that I brought that guy in, and I was, they felt like I wasn't being loyal to them for their hard work. The ones that felt like I wasn't being loyal for their hard work, I told the fucking don't let the door hit them where the good Lord split them, because I didn't need that kind of shitty ass attitude in my life. And I told them they could go find another job. And I was really, really tough on people, and I would fire people at the drop of the hat,
Yeah.
And
Well,
and
know that.
mainly because while it was a high skilled job, the skill wasn't enough. You had to want to do it. You had to want to do it right, and you had to want to do it well. And if you didn't have those things in place, fuck it, you were useless to me. I mean, you were less than useless, because the reality is that more than likely with that attitude, you were going to cost me money. So I'm on both sides. I will ride this fence gleefully that I want people that are highly skilled, that are motivated to work, and that are loyal to the company. But at the same time, I demand, if they're not going to be loyal to the company, if they're going to be the way that most employees are today, they need to understand that they are interchangeable widgets to me, and I will find the right widget.
I think in context, what CloverTech and I are talking about are definitely like those remedial, like big corporate jobs where they have just a lot of grunt workers. I think the best advice that I would give to the people who are getting into those positions is if you have grievances, go talk to your boss about it.
Yeah.
It's because then you'll figure out if your boss actually does care and your impressions were incorrect, or maybe he doesn't care at all. And then that's when you can make the decision of do the bare minimum or walk out on it,
Yeah, or their hands could be tied. This ties in to a conversation I was having with my wife earlier. She went back to work today, right? And so being gone all that time, she had a list, I think she said, of like 20 something things that while she was gone needed to get done. And there's another nurse that comes in when she's gone. And like, she's by far, like, she's super valued. When I talk about making yourself invaluable, like, she is definitely invaluable for her role and where she's at, without a doubt. And she gets a lot of special perks and treatment because of that, even though it's working for the state. And this is the frustration part that I'm fixing to hit on. She goes back into work today. That replacement nurse that come in or fill in or whatever completed 3 of the fucking 20. 3 of the 20 had nearly 2 weeks to do these 20 fucking things and completed 3. Fucking 3. My wife did the rest of the fucking 17 today. Like, so wasn't difficult to do, right? And when she noticed that they weren't done, what did she have to do? She had to go to her boss. And well, he was frustrated because now they're going to get written up, the state and blah, blah, blah. And they're going to get written up and get cited for that. My wife won't because she wasn't there, but it's still a mark on the unit that she's working for, right? Which doesn't necessarily look good, even though she has a technical out. But at the end of the day, that fucking temp that they bring in, whatever, is going to pay no fucking, and this is a regular temp. I'm not saying they hired a temp service. There's a fill-in nurse, a nurse that comes in on the regular that fills in when people are off.
Yeah,
right?
it's her job to give.
Yeah. Her job is the fill-in, right? And so, like, she'll keep her fucking job. There's no doubt that even though she just screwed the fucking pooch, she'll keep her job because it's with the state. And it's frustrating. My wife's frustrated about it. Her boss is frustrated about it. His boss is frustrated about it. But at the end of the day, like, it's one of those fucking state jobs. And, like, at the end of it's not for fucking profit. Nobody fucking cares. Like, if it was me, I'd go in and clean fucking house.
Yeah.
So how do we go about bestowing a work ethic into the young people today? Because that, to me, that sounds like a big problem. I mean, I think for everyone here on the panel and the good folks in the chat, as soon as I got my driver license, I was 16, got my driver license, bam, got a job. And I worked in a movie theater, by the way. Greg.
I think that you need to have kids that want cars again. I think you need to have kids who want to or have no choice but to buy it themselves.
I think it has to start somewhere though first, Grid.
Yeah.
And I think that place it has to start is I think parents have to not be overly fucking protective, which has become a goddamn thing. And I think they have to allow their children to get hurt, get bumps, get bruises, make mistakes, and
100%.
be able to shoulder responsibilities, right? Like, this is your bicycle, you fucking take care of it. This is your tools, this is your clothes, whatever, your room. Like, it's your responsibility to take care of these things, right? And I think that's where, yeah, I mean, I think it all has to start there. Go ahead.
Well, yeah, for me, I was just going to echo back what I said earlier was I think millennials and Gen Zs, some of us that have figured all this out need to help and consult our friends and our peers on how to do things. You know, yeah, all the advice that we've been giving on these podcasts, it's
What? Oh, he said his laptop may die.
Oh, that sucks. Well, so I'll give what I'm talking about here. I'll give an example of it. And it's with my own daughter, and it happened in the last week. So I got a granddaughter that started basketball, right? Little dribblers or whatever the fuck it is, right? And so we were gone, so we missed that game, obviously, first game or whatever. But anyway, so my wife is on the phone. We're out there. We're in a sitting at a bar doing something, and I see her over there kind of flipping through her phone and shaking her head. I'm like, what's going on? And she's like, well, she says, sent pictures of the grandbaby and this, that, and the other, and kind of upset. And like, well, what's going on? And like, well, they got out there playing, and the other team was just bullying, and they were pushing and slapping. And I'm like, whoa, time the fuck out. Are they playing sports, or are they making a fucking quilt here? Because if you're playing sports, it's going to be rough. That's the whole fucking point, right? Like if getting slapped or pushed or hand checked or whatever the fuck is a problem, then they need to find some other activity to put the child in. That, or they need to teach the child to plant her feet and block out and fucking slap at the goddamn ball to try to knock it out of hands and other shit. Be aggressive. Be aggressive, right? That's a fucking thing. Like, teach the grandbaby that sports are aggressive. Be aggressive. There's nothing wrong with that.
Be aggressive.
Agreed?
No, I agree. Right. I think that's
sports are not a fucking passive thing. And so many parents get butt hurt when little Johnny or little fucking Susie, gets slapped or hurt or pushed or falls down. And it's like, what the fuck are you teaching these kids?
I actually really agree with that. I think that's a real thing.
Yes, you teach teamwork, right? Yes, you teach self-reliance and confidence, and there's all these other things with sports. I get it. But it's fucking about being aggressive.
Well, I think you need to teach people that they want to win. That winning first of all, not only does it feel good, but it is good. You get things like awards and shit like that. It's good.
Yeah,
it's good stuff.
It's amazing being awesome, isn't it, Grid?
It is.
Isn't it
There's
awesome? Just
nothing better than being awesome.
Hell yeah, being the man. That's what it's about.
You might think you know, but until you know, you don't know.
Right.
I saw this on an episode of Star Wars, something, whatever. But it was participation trophies the Jedi do not give out.
That's true. That's very true. I gotta be honest with you here. That is something that just does not happen. So
kids they need to learn there is going to be a winner and there's going to be a loser. That's life.
Going to be a winner and a loser.
Period.
Right.
If you ain't first, you're fucking last, baby.
That's right. Second is the first loser. Never forget that.
Yep.
I kind of wanted to go into this a little bit more. We can, because obviously there's a lot of little we get sidetracked on this stuff a little bit, and I think topic. That it's a tough topic. I think that kids these days really have a hard time. If we could, let's go ahead and give some closing thoughts from our illustrious panel this evening. It's been great, and let's go ahead and get those final thoughts in, and we'll get out of here. It's that time.
Well, I'll start, and I'll just say that it's great to be back and hanging out. Missed all you fuckers.
Glad you're still alive.
Yeah, yeah. I was worried about being able to make it on, fucking maybe 2 or 3 hours sleep average a night and running. But and I think I expressed my concerns about that prior to heading out. But
Yeah.
I'm back, man, and I'm good. So it's all good. I made it. The on the parenting thing, um, fuck being your kid's friend. Be a fucking parent. Like, period. And this
I
is the people that
like
have
that.
kids. This is people that may have kids in the future. Like, you're gonna want to be their friend. Do not fucking be their friend. Be their parent. Now, you can be an attentive parent, right? You can be a supportive parent, but be their fucking parent. Don't be their friend. Once they're grown, trust me, you can be their friend at that point, and you'll have a really good fucking friend at that point. But
Hell yeah, you will.
if you be their friend, you're gonna raise a really shitty fucking person that you're not gonna want to be their friend when they're grown.
Yeah,
I like it.
agree.
I like it. Mr.
Yeah.
Boulay.
No, kudos with everything Clovertac just said. I agree. You can't be a pushover parent. You got to stand your ground and say, respect my authority. Here's the law. It's just simple as that. And and also set the example. Don't be a lazy bum yourself. I mean, you get out there and show them what drive and motivation and the rewards of good results and stuff like that.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. So don't just talk the talk, walk the walk. And that's all the words of wisdom I have. Glad you're doing well, Clovertac. Looked like you were having some good times at Shot. I caught your last
best week of the year, always,
Cool.
bro. Always best week of the year. Yeah.
I wanted to catch the live stream, but he DM'd me. I was in the middle of a meeting, and then I had like 2 other meetings. I couldn't make it. I'm sorry.
I'll probably do another. I'm still going through notes and doing things, so I'll probably fire for chill stream where I'm playing around with my notes and stuff and follow ups, and maybe we can get you in and kind of talk shop on.
Yeah,
that
he
a little
sent me
bit.
the link on the last live stream he had, and I was like, I wish I was on there because he and the other panels were having a really awesome discussion about the industry, what was what they saw out there, and
I really want to
kind
do
of shared
that.
some of their experiences, kind of a lot of good, but a few not so good, and it was just great. It was just good, chill Second Amendment talk. So.
Yeah, love it. Love
I'll
it.
catch you next time. So, hey, thanks for having me up. Great discussion. It's definitely something we can continue discussing at another time. And thoughts and prayers to the Black Hawk and the aircraft that was involved.
Yeah, hopefully they get everyone out of the water quick enough.
Yeah. So, thanks, Greg. Thanks, Clovertac, Smoke Patriot, Ticky Tack, and folks in the chat, because the chat always wins.
That's right. Although the grift did not flow very well tonight, we will have to improve.
Man, we need to work on that.
Yeah. Smoking Patriot, sir. Why don't you close out your night with us?
Okay, so my words of wisdom is just simply this: is that if you're looking to social media for what success is, then you're looking at the wrong place. Social media is a brain drain on success, because there's going to be every single person trying to sell you every single method of getting rich. I'm sorry to tell you, but money isn't the only thing that can make you happy, because to quote my dad, when you guys were in high school, we went into a little bit of debt going to Disney. But do you know what? That was debt that I will never, ever beg forgiveness for, because those were some amazing years we had as a family at Disney. So that's the thing at the end of the day, is that don't look to social media for success. If you're 17, 18, and the only job you can get is a custodian at a school, a church, wherever, get that job as a custodian. Work hard at it. Maybe it inspires you to create your own custodial company. And at 20, 21 years old, you create your own custodial company. By your time you're 45, you sell that company off and you're living large for the rest of your life. Who knows what the future will hold? But don't look down on working the average jobs just because they don't look cool. Hard work is something you can't really put a price on. I work hard, even though I never get recognized for it, but do you know what? At the end of the day, I try and make my boss happy, but if I'm making God happy, that's all I care about. All right, that's all I care about. So work hard, don't diss average jobs. All right, average jobs can always lead to something greater. So that's it.
I like all of that. I like all of everything everyone's had to say up here tonight. It's been a really great discussion. I want to thank everyone who came up, even the guys who had to drop down, Chip and Flint, and our man Tiki Tack. Really good conversation. Wednesday nights are going to be great conversations from now on. It will be where we will take a topic and discuss it, pull it apart. We're going to start having more and more guests come on the show starting very soon. Working on that right now. As far as tonight's topic goes, we've talked about this before, and I think that it's correct. A lot of what is said is correct. You can't look to online to be happy. You can't, and honestly, you should just be happy with your life. Your job may not make you happy. Your job may suck, but the things that it allows you to do may make you happy. I don't know. I don't know why. And happiness looks like different things for different people. You have to define that for yourself. And one of the things I think that we didn't address, we're going to have to address in a next show, maybe on Friday, but more than likely next Wednesday, we're going to have to address the fact that what you think makes you happy, and what you were told that should make you happy may not be in any way, shape, or form what make you happy.
Yep.
I am absolutely the happiest when I'm working. I'm happiest when I'm creating something. I'm happy when I am my hands are being used for usefulness. And at the end of the day, we do the best we can. I really want to stress that having been on all the different sides of this argument, I've been a temporary employee. I've been unemployed. I've owned businesses. I'm buying businesses right now. I've evaluated employees, and I've fired employees, and I've hired as many employees as I've fired. So on all sides, the better you are at, and the more satisfaction you take from your chosen work, your chosen activities, your sports, the things that you enjoy doing, the more enjoyment you take from that, the happier you are. So if you, I don't care if you're a garbage man, if it pays the bills and you can look yourself in the mirror every day, yep. and the job doesn't make your life worse, if it doesn't make you miserable, that's a great job for you. Yep. And you should be happy, because that job may allow you to do things that other jobs would not allow you to do. So I don't, we're going to address all of that in other episodes. I mean, we can only do so much in a night. I'm going to send you guys over to my man, Rob Knorr, who is currently discussing the debate between Andrew Wilson and Snake. And I really
Chink, I think is how it's pronounced.
Yeah, I know. But you guys have a great rest of your evening. We got a lot of really cool things coming up. Please, if you haven't already liked the stream, like it on your way out. If you miss it, come back, leave a comment, like the stream, and maybe throw me a couple of watch hours too. Anyway, you guys have a great rest of your night. It's been awesome. It's been a great evening. No outro tonight. I'm just going to hit the end button as soon as I say, be cool. Wear glasses if you need them. Get off my lawn.